And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Oaktown Bricks podcast. And today we have Walter Limited, also known as James, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So, how did your Lego journey start, James?
How did my Lego journey start? You know, I had some Lego when I was really little, just some like random pieces. But like when things really started, one Saturday, my brother and I were playing, and my parents went out to a garage sale. And this would have been about 1985-ish, 80. And they came back with the Galaxy Explorer box that they had picked up at a garage sale for like $10. And it was not only the Galaxy Explorer in the box, but a whole bunch of other parts just stuffed in there. And so that's really where things started going downhill, if you will, as far as the Lego addiction goes. And then from there, my first new set that I got was my first new big set. I got several smaller sets along the way for different things, but Black Falcon's Fortress was the first big one that I got, and that one still holds a special place in my heart.
The Black Falcon's Fortress, it was the second Black Falcon castle that they did, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe there was a little, like some smaller things.
Yeah. I don't think that it was the one from 1984, right? I think that it was like later.
I can't remember what year it was from. That's a good question. I can look real quick.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, let's introduce the chat, I guess. Say hi to the chat. So, hello, Hoarder66, also known as Will Harper. So, hello, Will. Cool Han Luke Bricks, what's up, man? And Brick Hive says, yo, what's up, Brick Hive? How you doing, man? And we also have Walter Limited in the chat. Unlike Sean, I am not sure the body is ready. Are you referring to Sean from ACOB?
Yes.
What is the reference there?
I'm trying to remember what that's from. Let's see. Yeah, not sure where that one comes from for Sean. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm right here.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, it looks like you have a lot of big sets in your background. Well, some.
I have a few, yeah.
Yeah, like Rivendell and the Falcon.
Yeah,
what do you think of both of those sets?
So I think both of them are just bangers. Rivendell, unfortunately, the Lord of the Rings stuff all came out during my dark age, and so, I was coming back into Lego. I was starting to buy my daughters their first sets in like 2012, 13, like that time frame. I didn't buy my own first set for myself until like 14, 15-ish. So I missed the end of all of the Castle and Lord of the Rings and everything, which I'm still sad about to this day. But I love, Rivendell is gorgeous. Are there things that they could have done better? Yes. Are there things they could have done better at that price point? No. Like, I don't think realistically they could have done more without making the set way more expensive.
Yeah, like I mean, you don't get all of the city of Rivendell from as you see in Lord of the Rings, but like it would need to be like several $1,000s to accurately depict that.
Exactly. Yeah. And what they did give you is just it's brilliant. The minifigures are all just spot on. I mean, and compared with the first Rivendell, Council of Elrond that we got, that was like this much. That's the little piece that just removes basically from Rivendell. Like there's no comparison. So I mean, it's brilliant. I love it. And the Falcon, I only own that UCS set. And then I got the Razor Crest is the only other UCS set that I own, but I only got that one because I found it for like 60% off at one point. And so I was like, wow, that's a crap ton of pieces. It was on. It wasn't Prime Day. It was somebody's like Walmart Black Friday or something like that. Like it went on a crazy sale, and then I had some like extra gift card or something that made it like 60% off. So I was like, okay, I can't turn down a UCS set for that price.
Yes. Are you gonna get the UCS AT-AT and the Cantina before they retire this year?
So Cantina I have and what's that called, the Ewok Village. Those ones they don't really like work as UCS sets in my brain for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand.
So yeah, I have those two, and the AT-AT I have enough Snowboys to fill one. So the plan is to have one filled with Snowboys before the end of the year.
So do you have a UCS AT-AT then?
I did actually pick one up on the May the 4th sale. It's actually in its shipping carton right over there.
Oh, cool. So
on the other side of the. I haven't opened it yet. Yeah, I'm busting on my Brick Fair mock right now, trying to get it finished.
Yeah.
So that has taken most of my building energy.
Yeah. Are you more of a set builder or a mock builder then?
Yes. I really enjoy building sets. That's something that I think there's a lot of guys like me who are veterans who use it as just a way to decompress, just building sets. It's kind of a mindless Zen kind of activity. But I love to build mocks as well. So the one that I'm working on for Brick Fair is 8 base plates wide by 3 base plates deep, and it's kind of a Forestman themed mock that's
pretty cool.
I think is looking pretty good. We'll have to see when it all comes together.
Yeah, that'll be cool. You didn't take that to Brick World Chicago, right?
No. Unfortunately, it is not show ready still. I've got 3 weeks from today or 3 weeks from tomorrow to finish it up before Brick Fair. So I'm hoping it's going to make it, because I've got family visiting next week, and then my daughter's birthday and a couple other things that I'm like, we're cutting it close. So hopefully it'll be ready for Brick Fair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that'll be pretty cool to show.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't know, I actually did get to meet James at Brick World, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad you came up and introduced yourself. It was funny because you and Lego Team B both kind of did the same thing, where you recognized me and I was like, oh, I have no idea who you are. But as soon as you said, Oaktown Bricks, I was like, okay, now I can put the name to a face. I recognize you. And that was pretty awesome.
Lego Team B was the same thing for me. He was like the only person that recognized me throughout the entire convention, and it was really cool. It was like it was Wednesday morning, so even before the convention really started, I was about to go to like downtown Chicago because I had never been to check it out.
Oh, nice!
And like right when I was before like catching an Uber, he got there and like he was like, "Oh, are you Oaktown Bricks?" Like. And it's like, yeah, and it's like, it was really cool. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Was this your first convention?
It was. The first Lego convention ever.
Awesome. Yeah, a good one to start with. So I have been going to conventions now for 3 years. This year will be my 4th Brick Fair in a couple of weeks. So I live 45 minutes from DC. Well, 45 minutes if there's no traffic. Realistically, like an hour and a half from DC. So, but yeah, I've been going to there. This will be my 4th year of that, and then this year was my 3rd Brick World. So, it's better every year because every year I meet new people and find new people to hang out with, and Brick World is a vibe. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry. Will said, I know I can't go to Brick Fair for all the days, but going just for a day might actually be able to happen this year. That's pretty cool. I won't be able to go, but hopefully you'll be able to make it out, Will.
Yeah, if you're there, Will, find me. I don't know what you look like, but I look like this, so come say hi.
I live in Annapolis, Maryland, so I'm not too far away. Yeah. Where is it at again?
Perfect.
Where in Virginia?
So I'm near Quantico, the Marine Corps base in Virginia, and which is south of Washington D.C. So Hoarder is east of Washington D.C., kind of a similar distance from where I am, out to the east instead of the south. So that's awesome. I have a buddy that works in Annapolis. So,
Cool.
And we used to live up that direction. I used to live just east of Fort Meade. So
you're not in the military anymore, right?
I am not. I got out in 2020 during the middle of the pandemic, which was an interesting transition.
Yeah. Yeah. How long did you serve?
Just shy of 10 years.
Just shy of 10 years. Well, thank you for serving.
My pleasure. It was worth it. It was,
I did want to ask you though, do you think that Lego should do military stuff or not really?
So I have mixed feelings on that one. Like that, I like the way that companies like Brickmania do military stuff, because they do it really, really well and really thoroughly. Like, if you've seen Brickmania's minifigs, like they're printed front and back of the torso, all the way around the arms, sides of the legs, sometimes sides of the torsos. Like they make custom headgear for the different uniforms. I mean, it's just the attention to detail is incredible, and it's not something I think Lego could realistically duplicate at the scale that Lego would want to produce it in order to do it. Even, set aside the Lego doesn't do modern military stuff. I just don't think realistically that they can mass produce the same level of detail on a fig that a smaller company can, like Brickmania, and the prices reflect that. We are used to $5 for a collectible minifig, and there's, of course, everybody has screamed when it's gone from $2 to $3 to $4 to $5, right? Every time the price increases on a collectible minifigure. But you go into a Brickmania and $25 to $45, like a lot of the custom minifig people. $25 to $45 for a minifig is normal. So
yeah, that is a lot of money though. Holy shit. Yeah. So let me address this. So Kuhan Luke Brick says, still getting over the FOMO from Brickworld Chicago. Now lots of the UK boys heading there next year, and I can't make it there either. Gutted. Great to hear about the convention. So yeah, it was a ton of fun. People, almost everyone is super duper nice. I did encounter a few not very nice people, but other than that, everyone else is super duper nice.
Yeah. I've had almost entirely great experiences at conventions. It was funny. The first time I showed up to Chicago, I didn't know anybody that was going to be there. I just kind of showed up. Actually, I knew one person who we had met like once at a lug meeting. And so we were kind of
like a content creator.
So she does a lot on Instagram with mosaics. Her handle's Virginia Bricks.
Oh, okay.
Does like mosaics on Monday and things like that. Incredibly talented mosaic builder, like incredibly talented. And so we kind of met up there, and she had met a few more people, Instagram contacts, and she kind of introduced me to the group, and like instantly, made friends with a couple dozen people, and was just awesome. And then, last year I showed up knowing all of those people, and I ended up through some of those contacts meeting a bunch of the people from Denlug, the Denver Lego users group, and made great friends there as well. And so like the only problem with that is now I go to conventions and I know so many people that I don't get enough time to hang out with everybody. Like, there's just not enough time in the days.
Yeah, for sure. Will says convention FOMO sucks, especially when everyone else is going and talking about how great it is. Yeah. For sure.
For sure, Will, for sure. Yeah, it's hard. Like, I'm lucky, and I got to go to Chicago, and I'm going to Brick Fair in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to Brick Slopes at the end of August. And like,
cool.
even with that, like, I see people at Brick Rodeo and, you know, tons of other conventions, Atlanta and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I wish I could go to that. Like, because there's so many good, fun people and so many super impressive builds that, like, it's hard not being able to go. The FOMO is real on that one for sure.
Yeah. Would you say though that the convention experience is more about looking at mocks or talking to people?
So for me, at conventions, the Lego is the vehicle to get together with awesome people.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, I could hang out with, you know, like my buddies in Denlug or the Bearded Builders Guild or you know, Nova Lug, my current lug here in the DC area, Northern Virginia area. I have friends in the Richmond lug, you know, friends from all over the place. And even if you removed all of the Lego experience from it, I would have fun hanging out with them. If you just had a Lego convention where all you could do was go and look at the Lego, like, that'd be fun for a day. But,
yeah, that's true.
But then it'd be like, but I just want to hang out with my friends. So, you know, it's most of it is hanging out with the friends, and the Lego is a lot of fun.
Will said agreed, and then Will says, how long are you guys streaming for? I'm going on my evening walk, but we'll be back in 20 minutes or so. I think that we'll still be live, very likely. So yeah, very, very likely. Yeah, we will still be live, in fact. And then Cool Han Luke Bricks says, I'm organizing a meetup for the UK boys in Cardiff in October for Brick Festival. It's only one day and nothing like Brick World Chicago, but better than nothing. Yeah, that still sounds like a ton of fun for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the great things is, so the Richmond, Virginia RVA lug did just a one-day show earlier this year. It was on a Saturday in, like, I want to say end of January, start of February, in like a local school gym. And so me and a couple other guys from my lug went down and displayed with them and hung out with them just for the day, and it was awesome. So, you know, short shows can be a lot of fun, and you come back way less exhausted after a one-day show than after a 5-day show.
Yeah.
I always need a recovery day after Brick World Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Will says, definitely still sounds fun, Cool Han. Yeah, it still sounds like a lot of fun for what it is. And then Will says, be back soon. Yeah, we'll see you soon, Will. Enjoy your
walk, Will.
Yeah.
I got to let it cool down a little bit. It's like 97 degrees with like 90+% humidity here right now. So I'm hoping.
Holy shoot.
Yeah. So he's out on the coast in Annapolis. So it's a little cooler, get the ocean breezes that cool it down a little bit. I'm a little more inland. So hopefully it'll cool down a little bit as the sun goes down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Over here, I don't know what temperature that we're at. I'm actually in Mexico right now.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, in Guadalajara. That's where my family is from.
Very cool.
Have you ever been around here in Mexico, I guess?
I have not, unfortunately. Yeah, I've been to Canada and I've been to a bunch of Europe, but I have never made it to Mexico. My wife's been to Mexico, but I haven't.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, you should definitely come. The beaches are very nice. A lot of the cities are really nice. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to have you and some of my other friends that are from Mexico or been to Mexico give me some tips on where I should go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Definitely DM me if you want any more details on that.
Will do, yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
So, what Lego themes do you enjoy?
Oh, it's probably a shorter list to say which ones I don't enjoy, but
you could start with that.
my very favorite ones, the ones I grew up loving. Castle and Pirates are probably my main two. Space, I also played a lot when I was a kid. It was funny because my brother and I, our collections were kind of like one bucket, right, all together. And then as we got older, we split them. And I took all the Castle and Pirate stuff, and he took all the Space and City stuff. because he was more into those and I was more into the Castle and Pirates. But still love building the space stuff. Probably Castle is probably my first love, but I mean, you can see I've got the helicarrier over this shoulder and the Falcon over this shoulder. So I like a lot of the licensed properties. I enjoy architecture as well. I don't know that there's a theme like Galador. I don't get the ironic love for Scala. Not really for me. Even Scala and Belleville, there's some really great parts in them that are still in use today. So, there's not a Lego theme that I think is entirely bad. Like I really enjoyed Hidden Side. The app was garbage.
Yeah.
Like my kids tried it out and they were like, yeah, this is stupid. But like we had a lot of fun with the sets, especially when we were able to get most of them for like 40 or 50% off or more.
Yeah, I never got any of the sets or played the app, but like from what I saw, like Lego just needs to probably stop trying this like toy and app integration. Like, they do well with their TT games and they do well with their sets, but like when they merge them together, it seems like it never does well.
Yeah, well, and as a parent, I have 5 kids, and like I want my kids to play with Lego so they're not on electronics. They have plenty of excuses to get on electronics. They like to play Minecraft. They like to watch videos, all kinds of stuff. They like to, they like movies. They like video games, whatever. And so, if they're going to play with Lego, I want them to play with Lego, not play with another screen. Like the whole point of Lego is to be creative and use your hands and get away from the screen. So I would love it if Lego never put out another app-based set again. That would make me super happy as a parent and as an adult fan. Like I've never really gotten into the apps at all. Like they don't do anything for me.
Yeah, how do you feel about Lego doing like TT games though? Like the Skywalker Saga or like all of those.
Yeah, I mean we have like the Lego Batman and Jurassic Park and some of those video games, Jurassic World, and those I think those are fun, but it's not really Lego. It's a video game, right?
Yeah,
it just has a Lego skin on it. And so,
yeah,
I play those with my kids. My wife plays those with our kids. And like, it's fun, not a problem. But like, to me, that's not Lego. Like it's a separate thing because it's a video game. So, but it looks cool. It's fun. I like making stuff explode when you go around like punching all the street lights and mailboxes and things like that.
Kuhan Luke Bricks said, loved Mexico. We stayed on Pacific Coast Holiday Resort and traveled to Mexico City. Great time. When you say Pacific Coast Holiday Resort, are you talking about like somewhere on the like a beach in the Pacific Ocean, or like is it a hotel in Mexico City? Like that would be, I don't know. That clarification would help clarify things, but that's cool. Mexico City is really cool, and the beach is really cool, of course. He also says killer 11.5-hour flight though. Yeah.
11.5 hours that's a haul there. Whew.
Yeah, I've never had to take a flight that long because I've never flown like overseas. Like the longest flight I've ever been in was probably to Brick World Chicago, and that was like, I think a little over 4 hours maybe. So from Oakland,
I've been on some super long ones. I've flown into Kazakhstan and parts of Russia several times, and so cool. I've done like 20-hour flights before, and it is anything over about 4 or 5 is just brutal. Yeah, like when you spend an entire day in an airplane, like there's nothing good about that.
Yeah, well, you could spend an entire day on an airplane when you catch a 4-hour flight and it gets delayed.
Yes, also very unpleasant.
yeah, or at least half of your. Yeah. So, Yeah, mine was like 4 hours, I think. How did you fly to Brickell, Chicago, or drive?
No, I drove out. Me and one of my buddies from around here drove out to there. It's about, I want to say 13 hours. We stopped for some food and stuff along the way, and gas, of course. But yeah, about 13 hours. Which the funny thing is, it's about a 5 hour flight ish, give or take, from Washington to Chicago,
That
and it would
much?
have taken, yeah, yeah, and it would have taken probably, if we'd flown, between having to show up early and go through security and
Yes.
board and everything and baggage claim at the other end, like it probably would have taken us 8 or 10 hours. So it really only cost us a couple more hours to drive, and then I had a car, so we didn't have to rent one at the other end, which was really nice.
But I was wondering though, is it really cheaper to drive because gas is so expensive?
Yeah, I think total between tolls and gas, we spent about $300 for all of the tolls and the gas and everything. And one plane ticket would have been about that. So the two of us, for one person, it probably would be about break even, but then I'd have to either rent a car or take Ubers. With both of us in the car, absolutely, we saved a bunch of money.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's actually true. Yeah, because Ubers are so expensive. So, yeah.
Yeah, and double that price if you take a regular taxi, which is just bonkers to me. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, when I used to use taxis a lot for work, when I was on business trips, I'd use taxis a ton. Before Uber became really popular, and then comparing the price, like for me to get from here to the airport, or from my old house to the airport, would be like $110 in a taxi. It'd be like $50 in an Uber.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, bananas.
Yeah, that is not good. Okay. Cool.
Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta, just north of Acapulco. Yeah, I've never been to Acapulco, but I've been to Puerto Vallarta many times. Yeah, it's very nice there. Very nice.
That's awesome.
Very beautiful beaches. Definitely recommend it.
Okay, I'll put that one on the list.
Yeah. Yeah. Where in Europe have you been to, or like what cool places have you traveled to?
Oh man, let's see. So I've been several places in England. Unfortunately, I haven't made it to Scotland or Wales or over to Ireland. But I've been several places in England. I actually got to sing in Westminster Cathedral a while back with a choir that I was there with. That was amazing. And let's see, been to Paris several times. And then several other smaller places throughout. I would love to go do a castle tour in France, just visit a whole bunch of different castles. I've been to several castles in Switzerland. Let's see, I've been to Amsterdam several times, Frankfurt and Munich in Germany a bunch, and then also, let's see, Kaiserslautern and what's that place called? Garmisch-Partenkirchen, which is in the Alps. Just beautiful. Been there both during the summer and during the winter. And great ski hills there. Just beautiful ski resorts. And then in the summer, great hiking and outdoor activities and stuff. Austria is gorgeous. Been to Italy several times. I've never been to southern Italy. I've only made it, into northern Italy, Venice and that area, Venice, Verona, the northern parts of Italy. I flew through Rome once. Unfortunately, didn't have time to get out to the city. Let's see, where else have I been? I've been to Prague. That's Prague. If you get a chance to go to the Czech Republic, Prague is probably one of my favorite big cities that I've ever been in. Gorgeous, very inexpensive to go to, and just beautiful.
Yeah, I would definitely love to go to like Prague, like the Czech Republic and Austria and Switzerland. Like they look very beautiful.
Yeah,
I've never been to
absolutely.
Prague though.
Okay, yeah. If you get a chance, absolutely go. The funny thing is, it's the same price typically, or close to the same price for me to fly from here to Europe as it is from here to like California or Utah.
Wow.
The tickets are similar prices, so it's like, hmm.
Have you been
But
to
yeah.
California though?
Yeah, I lived in California for a year while I was in the military, and when I lived out in Colorado and in Utah, we visited. My sister lives out in California. We have some other. I've spent a decent amount of time in California, both the Bay Area and then also L.A., San Diego, that area.
Yeah, that's cool because I'm in Oakland, California, so yeah, that's where I'm from.
Yeah, I lived in Monterey for a year.
Oh, cool.
And that it's
In Fort
gorgeous
Ord,
in
right?
that area. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Lived on Fort Ord. My sister's up in like the Antioch area.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Close to here. Close to where I live in Oakland. Yeah.
Yeah, closer. Yeah. So yeah, we've been out there several times. We keep thinking about like I would love to move back west because that's where most of my family is: Colorado, Utah, California. California is so expensive though. I mean, I live in the DC area, so it's stupid expensive here too. I'd love to move somewhere where it's not quite as expensive at some point.
I mean, certain areas of California, if I'm not mistaken, are not as expensive.
Yeah. If you get more into like the Central Valley and like out toward Nevada or up further north out of the bigger cities, it becomes more affordable for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but if you're like in like the LA area and the Bay Area, it's really expensive.
Yeah, like bananas. I can't even believe what it costs to live in the Bay Area. That just makes me.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
So.
Kuhan Looks Brick said, if you ever get over to Wales border, hit me up and I will show you around. I have a real castle just down the road from me. Wales has more castles per square mile than anywhere in the world. That's really cool.
Nice.
Oh, dang. I never knew that. Wow. When you say castles, like how big are these castles? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I imagine most of them are the like keep spot, smaller like keep style, not the big like huge walled cities or whatever.
Oh, and then Kuhan Luke Brick says, I meant Walter Lowell. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I think you probably mean anyone watching, but anyway.
That would be awesome.
Also, I guess if you don't know Kuhan Luke Bricks, he started to do some content on YouTube as well. So definitely check him out.
I'll have to check him out. Yeah.
Definitely check Walter Limited out as well. And definitely subscribe if you're watching and like the video as well here at Oaktown Bricks. But yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, California is definitely a nice place to live, although, again, it's really expensive.
Yeah, for sure. And it was funny living in the Monterey area because it was just overcast all the time. Mm-hmm. Like it was funny because as you drive out of there, like once you get up past like Gilroy, suddenly there's sun again. Like you have to get out of that direct Monterey Bay area, and then the sun comes out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I haven't been to the Monterey Bay, I think, that many times, but yeah, I've been quite a few times though. Definitely been to Santa Cruz a couple of times.
Yeah.
Which is
nice.
Nice.
That's where my fourth daughter was born, in Santa Cruz.
Oh, really? Oh, how many kids do you have? 5, right?
We have 5. Yeah, 4 girls and then a boy.
Is the boy the youngest one?
He is. Yep.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. I tell people all the time he would have been last no matter what number he had come because he is like a giant destroyer. He has so much energy and just like wrecks everything.
That's funny. How old is he? Your little son?
He's 5. He'll be starting kindergarten in about a month and a half.
Oh wow! Oh
yeah. We're excited for that. I think he's going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Kohan Luke Brick says, "Of course, you are all welcome. All real castles, not this fairy tale garbage." Sayer Philly, please correct me if I'm wrong in the pronunciation, but Sayer Philly Castle is massive and lots of parts collapsed. Oh, cool.
That's neat. Yeah, I would love to go check out some more castles. That would be. Ooh. I love them. I've toured several over in Germany and Switzerland. I'd love to go check some out there. I'll have to see if I can convince my wife to take a trip to Wales.
Yeah, that would be fun. You're cutting out, so.
Oh, am I?
Okay, it looks like you're back. So,
okay.
Do you like Harry Potter?
It was past my time frame. My kids. No worries. Let's see if it'll come back. My kids really enjoy Harry Potter. And I've watched some of it and I've read the books with them. And like the sets are neat. Some of them, I really enjoy, especially some of the like fantastical beasts, like not specifically that like show, but like the dragons and the griffins and the hippogriffs and things like that. I really enjoy that kind of stuff, and it fits really well into like the castle type of stuff. So especially before we started getting a bunch of castle stuff recently, like I was using, I'll still use a bunch of the like Harry Potter figs and things to bring over into castle stuff because they have a lot of great stuff in it.
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah, are you like an Indiana Jones fan?
So I grew up with Indiana Jones and loved it, absolutely loved it. I haven't watched the newest one, and that's because of the Crystal Skull, because that show was just bad. It's just awful. So I haven't seen the new one. But yeah, I loved Indiana Jones growing up, and the 3 sets. Again, the original line of Indiana Jones was during my dark age, but the 3 sets that they released recently, awesome, really good, and like especially the value on the airplane and the car, like that set, such a great value.
Yeah, and also I felt like the other set, the other cheaper set was also really great value. The Tomb set.
Yes, that one. I've actually drafted that set with at Brick Fair and with my lug. So I've drafted it twice, aside from having my own copy of the set. Because just incredible value in that one as far as the parts that you get and cool minifigures. I think I had like 5 or 6 of the mummies from that set.
Oh, that's so cool. So when you do parts drafts, do you do like, is it 1 minifigure per draft round? Or can you take all the minifigures at once?
No, so everything else will be like typically you select all the parts of that kind, but minifigures are a pick by themselves. Each minifigure is 1 pick, which is I think pretty standard.
Yeah, because I was doing a parts draft and they got all messy, like. Too. Yeah. It looks like we're back, right?
Yep. Looks like we cut out for a second there again.
That was funny. Internet cut out on both sides. Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah, I was wondering though, because I've seen Crystal Skull and the newest Indiana Jones movie, and I mean they're not my favorites. They're definitely not as good as the originals, as the 3 original ones. But like, why do they get so much hate? Because I feel like they get more hate than they deserve. Like Crystal Skull, like to you, what do you not like about it?
I think a lot of it is because, like, I think objectively the originals are just better than Crystal Skull, but also
Yeah. I agree.
it has the nostalgia factor on top of that. So like I think that's a lot of the problem is like objectively one is better than the other, but then subjectively because of the nostalgia, because I grew up with it, like, and I remember them, all those memories that are tied from it. You know, I watched them with my dad as a kid and like played Indiana Jones as a kid, and there's so much nostalgia attached to it that like the new one was such a disappointment because like it had a higher bar. Like it needed to be as good as the previous ones and a little better even to hit that nostalgia factor, right? So it had a higher bar to hit, and it's the same, you know. I feel like it's the same a lot of time with Star Wars, like the original trilogy. Like objectively, if you look at a lot of the things that people don't like about the prequel trilogy, some of the same things are wrong in the original trilogy, but we have the nostalgia for it. It was the original, right? And I think that's why, you know, a lot of the younger folks are such fans of like the Clone Wars, and it's what they grew up with. And you know, Sean has talked about this a ton on ACOB, that, you know, give it 20 years and there's going to be kids that are clamoring for Rey toys, and you know, and they're going to want First Order troopers, and they're going to want Last Jedi sets and things like that, just the same way that, you know, 20 somethings now are asking for Clone Wars stuff. So I mean, it's a tale as old as time. What we had when we were kids was like the Forestman. I love the Forestman sets from when I was a kid, but if I look at them compared to the Lego castle sets that we get now, there's no contest. Like if you look at it objectively, those Forestman sets are just trash. But it's what I played with as a kid, and so it would, you know, all of my imagination, all of those feelings and everything are wrapped up in it. And they had a ton of minifigs, so I mean, they had that going for it. But yeah, looking at the sets now, like it's obvious that the castle sets that are released today are way better than the sets that were released in the 80s or 90s. But it's what I had as a kid, so I love it. And the theme, you know, the whole kind of Robin Hood Forestman theming has always, you know, been a popular theme with kids. So, you know, all of those things tie together. You know, it's the same way that like, you know, you'll hear kids talk about Bionicle now, how much they love Bionicle, or not kids, like younger adults, you know, 20s and early 30s talk about Bionicle. That was after my time. My little brothers love Bionicle. You know, Bionicle doesn't do anything for me because it wasn't during my childhood. And to me, you know, I'm one of those people that's like, that's nice for you, but to me, it's not Lego. Like, because it doesn't fit with the Lego that I played with as a kid, right? It's the whole construction system. So my brain doesn't see it as Lego.
Well, you know, okay, we're back. So again, to me, like something like Bionicle and Galador and Scala and Belva, like all of that to me, like I don't really think that it's that cool, because to me a lot of it is somewhat, if you will, possibly uncanny, like in a certain way. Well, uncanny is probably not the right word, but like it doesn't feel like typical Lego, and I feel like a lot of it looks kind of ugly to me. But again, But I guess
but when people grew up with it,
like, I know there are a lot of big Bionicles.
My little brothers, my two little brothers that are now in their early 30s, absolutely love Bionicle because it's what they grew up with. And, you know, there's some other system-based stuff that they enjoyed as well, but like Bionicle is Lego to them. And so like, that's cool. It's just not for me. Which I think is something in the Lego community that we've got to realize more, right? That like so many people hate on stuff, especially, you know, different content creators oftentimes will just like crap all over one theme or another. It's like, you know, you can not like something without crapping on it. Like you can just say, yeah, this one's not for me. I don't like it.
I don't think that I watched video on it, but like another one that I know, and I think that this is why you made this video, but like Star Wars versus Dreams, like people complaining so much about like Star Wars minifigures not getting plus commas, but then being like, well, Dreams doesn't deserve it. No one cares about Dreams, and it just gets really annoying sometimes.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that like I've tried I've tried to kind of address that a little bit on my channel, like looking at things more like objectively. Like, okay, we say this is expensive. Let's adjust for inflation. What do these things look like with real inflation comparisons? And so that's kind of oh, thank you, Coolhan Luke Bricks. I appreciate that.
I was about to address that. Yeah, you definitely should.
But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that like often is intriguing to me, is like, and that's why I made the Dreams and Star Wars one, because I was like, okay, I hear a lot of people say these things like, oh, well, Dreams figures are way better than Star Wars. So I made the video on it because I was like, okay, is it really that way? And so I went through and did the research and compared, 2023 minifigure selections from both. And like, honestly, depending on what you value in a minifig, it's not even close. Star Wars is way better if you're looking for variety and things like that. Really? And if you're looking at quality of the figs, there are a few Dreams figs that are more detailed, but there are far fewer of them, and they get used in way more sets. So it's a trade-off. Do you want more characters that have slightly less detail, or do you want fewer characters like I think, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was somewhere in like Star Wars got like 60 something unique minifigs, and Dreams got like 30. And so it's like, okay, if would you Star Wars fans out there, let us know, would you select having half as many minifigures to get cloth commas on all the clones and leg printing or dual molded legs or whatever? Like, would you take half as many characters and more repeats across the sets to get the Dreams quality, that people talk about, which there are also Star Wars minifigures that get just as high of quality. So
Crimson Toasters in the house. What's up, man? Yeah, and I guess I did want to add this. So I guess my quick stance on it is I really do think that Lego Star Wars should have plus commas, but like what annoys me is just when people like act like, well, if this can have this, why can't we have this? Like it just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It can just get kind of annoying. Like again, I just think that objectively they should come with the plus commas. I'm not saying that it isn't an issue and you shouldn't complain about it. I'm just saying like the whole comparison, it's like you're just acting like you're superior to everyone else, and it gets kind of annoying.
Yeah, and that's kind of human nature. It's funny because like if you go into communities that are big on like Marvel, for example, you'll hear about how Marvel figs never get arm printing, or Marvel figs never get dual molded legs, or it's all the same complaints. It's just a different fan base, and I think every fan base at whatever point, it's easy to cherry pick the good stuff that other people are getting and ignore the bad stuff that they're getting, and to focus on the bad stuff that you're getting and ignore that you get all these great things. Like, I mean, objectively, Iron Man probably has the coolest selection of minifigures of any character. Yeah. People will complain about Iron Man not having this mark or that mark of armor or whatever, and it's like, okay, you only have like 45 unique Iron Man. Sorry.
I'm sorry though, but we do need a Mark II and a Mark IV. It would be very nice to get those two.
I would love it,
Yeah. I mean, they did
those. So
they did a Mark II in like a non. What is it? I think that it was like for the game, but it wasn't like completely accurate. Like it was part of. Yeah, it was not an MCU Mark II. It was like a comic book Mark II or video game Mark II, something like that.
Yeah, and that's one that's sometimes funny to me. Like I'm all about, people can like what they like in minifigures, but when people talk about minifigure accuracy, I sometimes laugh because it's like minifigures are so disproportionate compared to like real human anatomy that it's like, how accurate can your minifigure ever be, based on their shape?
To me, the one especially that it's like, I'm like, okay, here we go again. It's the helmet hole crisis, like, or helmet hole debacle, or issue, or conundrum. I don't know what you want to call it, because it's like, all of these minifigures are already so disproportionate. Like, I don't get how 2 extra holes ruins everything and ruins the universe. And
yeah. Well, and I can see, people not liking it. Like, if you prefer the old no helmet holes over the new with helmet holes, cool, fine. But like, is it an existential threat? Absolutely not. Like,
I mean, to me, the real issue is when they actually mess up the printing on the helmet, like the 212. Like, that's a much
where you
bigger
have the
issue
bowed
to me
out,
than
like
the having the holes there. Like, again, I don't get the whole like that.
Yeah. I mean, I agreed that the printing.
I guess, what's your
funky.
opinion on helmet holes, James? And plus Thomas. What?
So, I the helmet holes, I see the reason for them, and I understand the business reason for not producing helmet holes and not helmet holes at the same time. I do agree that they would look and function better lower in the proper spot. But to do that, you'd have to remake all the accessories when you redo all the helmet holes. So I can understand why they don't, because like when you're talking about molds for parts that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for a mold, and you've got to do that times 5 factories, so you're talking about $1 million to mold a new part. And you're talking about then, okay, we have to make a new helmet mold, which means we have to make the new like antenna and visor. So that's at least 2 molds. So you're talking about $2 million to do that. And it's not an instant fix either. Like, this is something that it's going to take 6 months to design and produce. And then in order to get those pieces into a set, you're talking another 6 months or a year of lead time. So even if Lego decided yesterday, like, yep, we heard the complaints in the community, they could have heard a year ago. Like, yeah, we agree. We see what the complaint is. We want to fix the helmet holes. You're probably not seeing, even if they decided a year ago, you're probably not seeing changed helmet holes or helmets without holes until 2025. Like, that's just the reality of the production process. So,
And I guess, what's your opinion on the printed combos?
I'm not a big Clone Wars guy. Like, that wasn't my, like, I think the clones are cool, and like, Revenge of the Sith is a decent movie, and Phantom Menace was a great, it was great to get Star Wars back in production after not having new content for years and years. But like, Clone Wars don't hold the same draw to me that, like, give me Stormies. I would rather, I'm jacked for the sail barge. Like, I am so excited for the sail barge. No, I agree with you, Crimson Toaster. There doesn't need to be another circle under the helmet hole.
I mean, I think that
it's not perfect. It could be fixed.
I guess the solution at the end of the day are people okay with the helmet hole being in the spot that it is, but taking out the hole below it? And I mean, if they are, then I guess that's the solution.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And I think they could improve it for sure. consolidating them into one spot, whether it's the lower one or the higher one, either way would be better. But it's not something that keeps me up at night. Like, that's, I think that's something also that comes with age. You know, you gain perspective on some of this stuff. Like, something that I've noticed, you know, a lot of, don't get me wrong, there are still people that get way fired up about a lot of stuff when they're older too. But for the most part, it seems like with age comes perspective. And like, I feel incredibly lucky that I get to play with Lego and I have all this stuff. And like, sure, there are things that I'd like to see improved. Absolutely. From a perspective of how much it affects my world, like zero, like realistically. And if I don't like a set enough, I'm not going to buy it. If I don't like a minifigure enough, I'm not going to buy it. Like, I don't have that completionist collector perspective. And so I'm just like, yeah, if it's crappy, I'm not going to buy it. And, you know, if enough people do that, then Lego changes, because Lego is all about catering to its market, right? That's their whole job. And so, you know, the problem is, you know, I mentioned it in a Discord chat earlier today, that like the Jedi Bob Starfighter, there's been leaks of it come out lately, right? And it's $40, which is a stupid price for it, stupid high. But the problem is it will sell out on day one, even at that price. And so that tells Lego that price is not too high if it sells out. So until people decide, like, that's the thing, is if you want change, you have to vote with your wallet, and enough people have to vote with your wallet, with their wallets, to tell Lego, hey, we don't like this, right? So clearly helmet holes have not bothered enough people, you know, and people have still bought dozens of battle packs and things like that, and, you know, or clone army building with the helmet hole clones. So if people stopped buying the clones once they put the helmet holes in them, Lego would have been like, oh, we screwed up, we'll change back. But they sell well enough that it hasn't, because I guarantee, this is the other thing that gives perspective, is as a parent, like, my 5-year-old doesn't give a crap about helmet holes in Clone Troopers. Like, he's not fussed at all about that. He doesn't care about like the helmet variants, like, because that's a big thing in the Marvel community, is like the different Iron Man helmet variants, the ones that open, the different, you know, the larger mask versus the smaller mask, like all that stuff is a big thing to them, right? Like the same as the helmet holes. My 5-year-old doesn't care. Like, he's got a cool Iron Man minifigure that he's swooshing around, and he's going to take the helmet off and put hair on it. And ultimately he's going to take that helmet and put it on somebody else and make his own figure for his own adventure. And like, and that's Lego's prime market, is like 5 to 12-year-olds, right? Like, that's where the vast majority of their business is selling to parents of 5 to 12-year-olds. And so if it's selling to those people, like, I'm sorry, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old fans, like, yes, you might buy expensive sets, but you don't buy enough of them to offset the 5,000 X-Wings a month that are going to sell from now until the end of time. So, you know, there's a reason that land speeders keep getting remade and X-Wings keep getting remade, because they sell. Like, Hidden Side didn't sell well, so they stopped making it. Like, it's pretty easy. Like,
video flopped more than any other thing that Lego has ever done, so they canceled it within the first year it existed.
Yeah, so that's an interesting topic. With Jordan Paxton, the head of community engagement, did a talk at Brick Slopes last year, and he talked about how a typical wave or a typical run of a theme automatically gets
Jordan
3
Paxton,
waves, right?
Is he the land dude or Lego's?
Yeah, Yep. Yep.
Like
He's
actual...
the community engagement LAN lead. Yeah. So he does all the stuff with like he's the one over all of the lugs and RLFM and everything like that. But he was talking about that, like everything gets 3 waves, right? First wave is going to happen. Second wave definitely going to happen. And then they decide based on the sales of the second wave if there's going to be a 4th wave. So one, 2, because of the timelines, you know, the 3 waves are going to come out. So for Dreams not even to get its 3rd wave means that wave 1 and 2 performed so poorly that they pulled production on wave 3. Like they stopped it partway through production.
Well, we did get wave 3. Oh, are you talking about video?
Yeah, video. Yeah.
But Dreams.
Sorry, video. My fault. I mixed the 2.
Yeah.
In my brain.
I mean, well, video got, I guess wave 1 was just like... Well, the thing about video was we didn't really get real sets until wave 2. Like,
right.
Wave
yeah,
1 was
they
just
totally
those
bungled
boxes
that.
and the CMF, if you will, kind of.
Yeah,
and
that were way too expensive.
The actual sets.
Yep. And so because of that, wave 3 didn't come out because wave 1 didn't sell very well. Oh, and that's why we didn't get wave 3, because wave 1 didn't sell well at all, and because of that, by the time wave 2 came out, people were so turned off by it that they were just like, nope. And so wave 2 didn't sell at all. So they were like, crap, pull wave 3 before we even send it out, because it'll just totally tank, which is too bad because there were some really cool sets coming from the concept art and stuff that I've seen. Which, you know, again, it's that app integration drove up the prices on stuff and made it, and music licensing made it unrealistic, because the minifigs in that were just bangers. Like there are so many good minifigures in video.
There sure were.
But yeah, if you see a new theme come out and you want to see it continue, wave 2 is the key wave for decision making. That's actually what killed Elves. Is wave 1 came out, it sold really well. Wave 2, they did a little change of direction and it didn't sell as well. And wave 3 is the one that like people really love, the wave 3 sets. But then it ended because wave 2 didn't do well. There was no wave 4. And so, you know, and that's why Ninjago is still around, because wave 1 did well, wave 2 did really well, wave 3 came out and also did well. And so because wave 2 did well, they did wave 4, and then it has just kept selling year after year for Ninjago.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Ninjago technically did get canceled. And it came back because of fan outcry. It got canceled like probably after wave 3 or wave 4 maybe, and like they said in 2013 they were going to replace it with Chima. So Chima came out, but then they still made Ninjago sets.
Yeah, and
Ninjago sets on January 1st, 2013 that came out, but then the next sets weren't until January 1st, 2014 because it got canceled. Oh no, but like
right.
It was the community kind of coordinator with Lego at the time leaked out that it was getting canceled early. His name was it was Kevin Hinkle. That's his name. Okay. And then so he said Ninjago's canceled, but then people got like, you know, I don't know. People really wanted Ninjago back, so Lego brought it back.
Yeah. Well, and it continues to sell well. That's the big thing with Ninjago is it continues to sell well. You know, if it didn't sell well, it doesn't. I mean,
hello,
Bionicle.
Will. Welcome back. We're still live.
Yes, I hope your walk was good, Will. But yeah, that Ninjago. Yeah, it continues to sell well.
Fuck, man.
And so it'll stay around until they decide that it's not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore. You know, that's why Star Wars is still around. If Star Wars was a stinker and didn't sell, they wouldn't sell it anymore. And that's why Harry Potter took a break, because it did well and then it didn't do as well. So it went away for a while. And then it came back and has done well since then. And so yeah, it's just a matter of, you know, the things that sell well. Lego wants to make money. That's what. So
Yeah,
if it sells well, they'll make it.
Which is logical, and I guess technically the right thing for a company to do.
Yeah.
To make money. I guess it's just about how you go about it ethically, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and that, you know, there are lots of questions about you know, how you should run a business and things like that. And
didn't Kevin Hinkle say he would? Oh, why doesn't it show up? Okay. Well said. Didn't Kevin Hinkle say he would come back to the Lego community if they ever came out with Zelda figs? Well, they did. I don't know if he ever said that. Again, I don't know too much about the dude. I just kind of know a little bit of his story, and that he hates Lego because Lego was very mean to him and stuff like that. But yeah.
I mean, Zelda figs are coming. They haven't come out yet, so you know, we'll see what happens. I also don't know if he said that. He was. I missed most of the Kevin Hinkle time frame.
Looks like we're back.
So, yeah,
Yes,
all I know about Kevin Hinkle is just from secondhand stuff. I've never met him, and I've never, you know, interacted with him personally, so couldn't say.
Yeah. Let me try to move to a different part of my house to see if that'll work better for the Wi-Fi.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm excited to see the Zelda stuff while you're moving. You know, the Zelda stuff looks pretty cool. I think the price is a miss. I think it's more expensive than, but again, you know, if it sells out day one, that tells Lego that the price wasn't a miss.
Yep.
You know, we saw a big correction. What was it, 2022, when they came out with like absolutely bonkers prices on like the Hulkbuster and things like that, the UCS Hulkbuster. And so, you know, when that happened and things didn't sell,
yep,
Lego, you saw it in 2023, prices came back. Like there were things that were cheaper in 2023 than they were in 2022. Then? And it's because people didn't buy stuff in 2022. So because the prices were so high. So, you know, and that Hulkbuster is still available at 40% off because that one was a giant miss. So all you have to do to get Lego to change how they're acting is not buy it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So welcome back, Crimson Toaster.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, everyone. That was just some internet issues there. Hopefully, it'll be better up here. Crimson Toaster says, I'm back. Well, glad you're back, man. If you also don't know Crimson Toaster, check him out. He also does YouTube videos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, they're... I will ask you this, James. Have you ever considered being in LAN?
Yeah, I've thought about it. Like it's crossed my mind, but like my account on Instagram and my channel on YouTube are so small that like at this point I don't even think they'd take a look at me. But yeah, I would love to you know, be able to give some of the insider feedback that they're able to give, and we do get a little bit of that with being in lugs. You know, they'll send out surveys to lugs, or they'll do like product tests with lugs or things like that from time to time. And so, you know, you get opportunities to give input. But yeah, I would I would absolutely take the opportunity to be in LAN if I had that opportunity. And, then depending on what my experience was like inside, of course, I'd make a judgment from there. But, I think anybody who says they wouldn't, consider being in LAN if it was offered to them, they're not telling the truth. Like even M&R, like, he had a bad experience with LAN. He was removed from the LAN. If they came back to him right now and said, Ryan, we want you to come consult, with our Star Wars team and be in the LAN, I almost guarantee he would say yes.
You do think so, really?
Yeah. Because he'd be dumb not to. Because like that's the thing is, if you have the opportunity to give direct feedback to Lego, like, because anybody can give feedback, right? You can do the surveys on the website, you can rate products, you can do things like that. But people in LAN speak not only for themselves, but they speak for their communities. Like those things that they put out, the reviews and things, they write back with their community's response. They send reports to Lego on like, and I've talked to several members of LAN that they're like, yeah, I will absolutely address that. When they get several comments or questions about the same thing, they'll take it to Lego and be like, hey, this is what my community is saying. And, Lego does listen. They might not listen at, and have reactions as fast as people would like sometimes, because like there's a 2-year tail on a set. Like it's not an instant thing. And to be honest, people's attention spans are so short that by the time Lego does fix a problem, people have already moved on and are complaining about the next thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So, it's funny because people think I'm a Lego apologist. I've been accused of working for Lego before in different chats and things. And I'm like, no, I don't work for them, but I do have a fairly realistic understanding of how business works and how the world works. And it's funny because, people talk about business and things like that and how bad Lego is. And like, are they a perfect company? Absolutely not. Like, there are definitely things they could do better. But after 10 years in the Army and all the bull crap that we go through there, like Lego is a shining beacon of efficiency and customer service compared to your experience in the military. So, if you think Lego change is slow, go join the military and work in the military for a decade and, see how slow change really is in those organizations. So, yeah, absolutely, Hoarder. That definitely Lego does make changes, but it's there's a lead time to it. If they make a decision today, it's at least 2 years before that you'll see that change in a set.
Think about like the Ryan and the 501st Battle Pack, like M&R Productions and the 501st Battle Pack hype. Like they addressed it. They made the set. I don't know what to say.
So that's a really interesting case study to me with like the prequel sets, because first of all, like the social media, YouTube, whatever influencer thing has become a huge phenomenon in the last 10 to 15 years, right? And so there's all these people that started talking about things and social media campaigns and things like that don't really have a frame of reference from before that time. Because I mean, it used to be that like, yeah, sets were on the shelves for 5 or 6 years and Lego came out with like 100 sets in a year. And now, they come out with 100 sets in a quarter.
Yeah, more.
And they stay on the shelves for 6 months to 2 years max, unless it's something like the Millennium Falcon. But looking at the UCS sets that have come out recently that M&R is an example. Life Bricks is another example that have talked a lot about the prequel stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because Lego started making prequel UCS size sets just recently. That's not an accident, because when did the people that are big fans of the prequels start getting their first real big boy and big girl jobs? In the last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people who are big fans of the prequels, that generation is just into their early and mid 20s and really working their first real income jobs now, and can really start to afford UCS size sets now. So is it any wonder that Lego only started coming out with those UCS sets in the last couple of years? Because you know who has had the money for the giant UCS sets previously?
Original
OT fans. Because they're all in their prime earning ages, right? They're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and making the kind of money that it takes to be able to buy a $500 or $800 set. So I don't know about you, but my parents weren't buying me a $500 Lego set when I was 12. Like,
yeah, me neither. I can't. I don't have, I think, a single. I mean, maybe from a bulk lot or something, but like from a set that I've bought, I don't think that I have a set over the price of like $170.
Right, right, and that was probably like a Christmas gift or a birthday gift, and that was like the one big thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's how mine were too. Like I bought most of my own Lego as a kid. I got a paper route, and I'd use my, I mowed lawns when I was younger. I mowed neighbors' lawns, and they'd give me $10 or something to mow their lawn. And so I have several of the smaller sets from when I was a kid. But I only had a few of the big sets, and those were almost always either a birthday gift or a Christmas gift. And so, but those were like $100 max. But yeah, and I look at my kids, and I won't buy them a $500 Lego set. Even my 17 and 19-year-old, like, no, like, if I'm going to spend $500 on you, it's going to be for something that, like, I know you're going to like and use long term. Like, you might think a UCS set is cool and build it once, but like, if you build it once, then it sits on the shelf and pieces get lost and you never use it again. Like, as a parent, that's not worth it for me. So, the people who are going to buy the big UCS sets are typically buying it for themselves, and so it has to be people with real jobs. I mean, it can't be, people doing and it blows my mind, because in high school, most of my friends, we had jobs. Most of my kids' friends and my kids themselves, like, most of them don't have jobs today during high school.
I don't. So I just
different culturally.
And I never had a job. Yeah.
Right. And so it was just different culturally, right? So, me and most of my friends, at least during the summer, every summer, had a job. I worked from the time I was 12. I've had a job, and I worked most of the year round. And that's not better or worse. That's just how it was. And so, if I tell my kids, like, if you want to buy something expensive, save up for it. Like, I have no problem helping you buy something, but I'm not going to buy it for you if you're not doing anything to make progress on it. Like, one of my daughters went to Europe on a trip during her senior year of high school. And we told her, we're like, yeah, we'll pay for half of it. You got to figure out a way to come up with the other half of the money. And she did. So, it's stuff like that. And not that we could have afforded to pay for the whole thing, but, like, personally, it sounds more like a parenting podcast than than a Lego podcast for me. Sorry about that. So, if you want something, you have to work for it, and you have to start paying for it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. There are a lot of things. Yeah. Well, Cool Han Luke Bricks says, "Way to go, Walter, for raising the next generation the way we were raised." Yeah. And then I guess I'll address this. Legacy's the push from all the young adults all the way up to those of us in their 40s who watch the prequels in theaters. Yeah, well, I don't know if you realize this, Walter, but if you think about it, like most of the the people that you talk about, the young adults, they grew up with the Clone Wars, like, and sure they grew up with the prequels,
Yeah.
but it was mainly the Clone Wars. Like if they're 20 to 25, it like they didn't grow up watching the Phantom Menace in the movie theater.
Which actually is what saved the prequels, was the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Series, because be honest, watching the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, those two are awful movies. Like, just not good. Like, yeah. I've watched the Clone Wars or the Attack of the Clones several times, and I have never watched it since the first time in one sitting because I just get bored with it. Because the story progression is so bad and the character development is so bad, and Anakin is so whiny that it's just like,
he's cringy and whiny. Yeah.
And so, but Revenge of the Sith was a lot better, and there's a lot more progression, and things happen. So, but yeah, and like Sean has talked about on ACOB before, I saw Phantom Menace on release day. I had friends, that we stood outside the theater and waited for the theater to open to see it at midnight, because I was in high school, or had just graduated high school when the Phantom Menace came out, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a big deal, and we all went and watched it, and we were like, oh, that wasn't that good. But now people love it, who are younger, who grew up watching it, over and over again. And yeah, it gets better watching it multiple times, because like you start to pick out things that you love. But it was not well reviewed when it came out. Like people did not receive it well. So
yeah. So would you say that for you, do you like those movies, the prequels, more now than when they had come out?
No, because I still don't love them. Like, if somebody asks me what Star Wars movie I want to watch, it will not be one of the prequels. Like, just hands down, I would rather watch, The Empire Strikes Back, or A New Hope, or Return of the Jedi before any of the prequels. Like,
yeah, me too. Yeah.
If you tell me I can't watch any of the original trilogy, I might even choose, like, Solo gets a lot of heat, but I thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah. Like, how about Rogue One? How do you feel about Rogue One?
Rogue One's all right. Like, it's not bad.
Really? You like Solo more than Rogue One?
I think, and it may just be like that I connected with it better when I first saw it. But yeah, for whatever reason, like Solo hit something with me, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Rogue One's not bad. I would rather probably watch Rogue One than definitely rather watch Rogue One than Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah.
So I probably should put out my, everybody ranks the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, actually,
I should probably put out a ranking at some point of what I think, but I'd have to go back and watch at least the sequels. I'd have to go watch again, because I have only seen most of them once.
What do you think of the sequels?
Luke got done dirty.
Yeah.
So, they're all right. They're all right. I mean, I feel a lot about the sequels how I feel about the prequels. They're all right. It's Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is the original trilogy to me, but like, it's the Star Wars universe, and they're fine. They're amusing. I'd turn them on, whatever. If they're running in the background while I'm cooking dinner with the family or something like that, like, don't hate it, but most of them are not something that I'm going to go out and like, yeah, I'm going to choose to spend the next 3 hours watching, these movies. Whereas with the original trilogy, like, I watched the original trilogy growing up every Christmas break from school. Every winter break, we sat down and we watched the original trilogy, and I never got tired of it. And I still, most years with my kids, watch the original trilogy at winter break. The other ones, like, they'll watch the prequels and the sequels sometimes, but we watch the original trilogy pretty much every year.
Are they? I think this is going to be interesting to hear. Would you say that they're like, what is Star Wars to them, or like, what is their favorite part of Star Wars for them?
I don't think any of my kids is a huge Star Wars fan. They enjoy them, like they're part of the zeitgeist. They're part of the culture at this point in a way that like growing up, we had, kids had Star Wars toys when I was growing up because it came out late 70s, early 80s. I grew up through the 80s and 90s. And so Star Wars was a thing that like kids had Star Wars toys, but unless you were like a nerd, which I was, then you weren't into Star Wars as like a teenager and stuff. Star Wars has only really become mainstream or more mainstream in the last 25 years. With the release of the prequels and similar with Marvel, and DC and all the comic stuff, like you didn't used to, you'd watch like the comic book cartoons as a kid, and you might read comic books as a kid, but unless you were a nerd, like in your teens, like most people didn't pay attention to any of the comic book stuff or any of the Marvel, there weren't the Marvel, the MCU didn't exist. So that kind of stuff has kind of gone mainstream now in a way that it wasn't in the 80s and 90s. And so, it is something that like, I think people who were fans of those things in the 80s and 90s were more hardcore fans on average than people who are fans of them today.
Yeah.
Like the average Star Wars fan today, like tons of people will call themselves a Star Wars fan, but the amount of like hardcore Star Wars fans is way, way smaller percentage of it. Whereas if you were a Star Wars fan in the 80s or 90s, chances are you were a much more hardcore Star Wars fan, right? So, I mean, it's just yeah, I think that's absolutely true, Will. Like 8 and 9, and I think it's a problem with a lot of films at this point is there's too much in them. I think a lot of movies today, regardless of Star Wars or not, you could cut out 20 or 30% of it and make it a better film. I think that's something that like, I feel like people feel like they need to spell things out more in media today. Like it's something that you see with books a lot too. Like, I don't know if you read fantasy novels at all.
No.
But, I read fantasy and sci-fi, have since I was a kid. And if you compare Lord of the Rings, like the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy is not as thick as a lot of fantasy and sci-fi books that are released today, like one book. And so the word counts are much higher. People over-explain things and over-describe things and do less world building and character development in the process. So, I think it's something that because we have so much more information today, like because of the information environment, people put out more information than they necessarily need to. And there's less reliance on people's imagination to fill in the blanks. So I don't know. That's just my perception. I could be totally wrong.
Will says, I think a lot more people were nerds and just were quiet about it, so they didn't get picked on because everyone nowadays likes Star Wars or Marvel or both. Yeah, I mean, I think especially Marvel, like especially during the time of Endgame and Infinity War, like everyone was like, you know, I don't know, everyone was like, oh, Marvel is so cool and I love Marvel and blah blah blah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
And
it's
Star Wars
definitely
has
far
definitely
more
had
mainstream.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. What did Nah, I think you're onto something. What do you mean by that, Will? Can you clarify what you mean by I think you're onto something? Yeah, no, but I guess we didn't address this comment, but how do you feel about this? Would you agree with this, James? Ryan definitely helped sway the opinions of many in the Lego Star Wars community.
I think he's definitely a loud voice. Yeah. Um, I think Ryan has a loud voice in the community, for better or worse. I think there's some things that he's way off base on. I think there's some things that he's right about. There's a lot of stuff that I agree with him on, but I think he definitely has one of the larger platforms in the younger, especially Star Wars community. Like, because I think there's definitely a divide, and most of it is age based, in the Lego community. Like, there's people who are very into, the social media, YouTube, Instagram, whatever side of it, and there's a lot of people that want nothing to do with it, right? Um, and so I think Ryan has a very loud voice in the portion of the community that pays attention to social media. And, whether people like him or not, almost everybody who's a Lego Star Wars fan who checks out social media is familiar at least with who Ryan is. So,
Yeah,
if somebody's a Lego Star Wars fan and you ask them, have you heard of M&R Productions? They've seen at least a couple of his videos at some point, whether they liked him or not, whether they watch all of his stuff or not.
yeah.
Everybody's heard of him.
I
And so
agree.
he does have a pretty significant voice in the community, whether everybody agrees with him or not. I think he hears a lot of feedback from the people who agree with him and hears a lot less feedback from the people who don't. Because most of the people who don't agree with him aren't going to leave a comment on his video or aren't going to watch his videos. But speaking from, I hear quite often from people in my lug, like that they will laugh about things that Ryan has said in videos and be like, man, this guy is crazy. Like he so doesn't
Really?
understand how things work. Yeah. There's a lot of guys my age or whatever that are like, yeah, he'll learn as he gets older, and he has, to be fair. Oh, absolutely, Will. He definitely gets hate comments, but the percentage of people who take the time to write a hate comment is super low versus the percentage of people who just ignore him. But yeah, there's a lot of people that I know that are like, they're aware of what he's saying, or they know what he says but disagree with him, but they're never going to leave a comment and stuff like that. So it's like, I think sometimes social media influencers, I wouldn't consider myself an influencer. I'm a content creator, but my following is so small, and my portfolio is so small that, like, I wouldn't consider myself an influencer. But I think sometimes influencers get caught in their own echo chamber, and it's the same thing that, like, we see in a lot of social media. Hey, how's it going, ACOB?
What's up, Sean?
So, I think a lot of times, and it happens across social media, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. The algorithm is built to get you to see what you want to see, to keep you on the platform, right?
Yeah.
And so inherently, when you're on a platform, you're going to see more of what you like because that keeps you on the platform. And so, influencers that have a big audience, those people are going to be directed to them and not to other people. And so it's kind of this self-perpetuating loop, right? That you're directed to people that have similar opinions or content or whatever to what you've already watched. And so with people like Ryan, I think he's aware of things outside of his circle, but not as aware of it as it probably is disproportionately represented in what he sees. Like he disproportionately sees people that agree with him. It's the same on any subject. If you're a Democrat, when you go on social media, you're probably going to see all kinds of left-wing stuff. If you're a Republican, you're going to see all kinds of right-wing stuff because the algorithm is feeding you the stuff that you have listened to and watched. So, I think that's the same with M&R and Life Bricks, and, the viewership that they get inherently likes what they say. So it feeds into itself. So, and I'm the same way. I can look at, and I actually play games with the algorithm with like my YouTube feed and stuff, where I'll be like, okay, if I click on 3 of these types of videos in a row, what does that do to my recommendations page? What does that do to my feed? And so I'll purposely like go find something else to break the cycle on my feed and see what else I can get to come in. But most people aren't doing that. Most people aren't purposely, trying to go outside what the algorithm is recommending. And that's not because I'm better or smarter than people. That's just because I like to play games with the algorithm and see, okay, if I watch 3 videos on this, how does that change the mix of what's on my page? If I go watch, 3 videos on monster truck racing, now all of a sudden half of my recommendations are monster trucks. And then as soon as I go watch 3 Lego videos, there's like 1 monster truck thing and like all Lego again. I watch a couple of podcasts about sports, and all of a sudden all of my recommendations are all these sports podcasts. And so, it's fun to just mess around with it and see what will happen.
Yeah. So. Will says, who's watching The Acolyte? I didn't like it, but episode 5 kind of changed it for me some. Milo Ren is a cool character. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I have not seen it either. Like, I'm so far behind. I just finished Mandalorian season 3. Like,
what did you think of it?
Season 3 was not as good as I loved season 1. Season 1 was awesome. Yeah. Season 2 was okay. Season 3 had good spots and bad spots, but I didn't think it was nearly as good as season 1. I think one was great, and then since then it's been a little rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't seen Andor or anything like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen Andor yet. Yeah, I thought season 3 was by far the weakest, in my opinion, from The Mandalorian. I mean, season 2 probably, I think, had kind of its weak spots in the middle, but at least the ending was really cool.
Yeah.
And season 3 had a cool ending, but I don't know if it, paid off and came full circle in a way.
Yeah, the whole, I like the storyline and the plot progression outside of the shows. The whole Mandalorian kind of redemption arc is interesting, but it was not as captivating as the first season. The first season really it felt like a spaghetti western in all of the best ways, and I feel like the later seasons have lost kind of that campy, funny, different vibe that season 1 had.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
good. I'm glad to
yeah,
hear,
I can see
Porter, that it gets good. I want to see
yeah,
it. Time is slow when you have 5
yeah, I need to
kids
see
and
it.
and a job and trying to do Lego stuff. My time is at a premium. And then I made the mistake. I hadn't played a video game in like other than like sitting down with my son for a few minutes or my daughters for a few minutes playing on the Xbox. And I played Panzer Corps a couple of weeks ago, which is a turn-based strategy game, and got sucked in, and like that was a whole day just gone. I was like, oh wow, now I remember why I don't do this very much.
Yeah, I
because
don't
I
play
really
video
enjoy
games
it.
anymore. I mean, I'll play video games if I'm with other people, but like alone, I won't. Like, I'd rather be building Lego or doing something else, probably. So yeah, and then Will says still need human Java. Well, didn't Stud Lake just make it, or someone I saw just made a human Java custom minifigure? And then A Cup said too many cooks in the kitchen on Mando season 3. What do you mean by that? Like it was too all over the place? Is that what he means?
Yeah, too many people have too much input and trying to get too many things. They're trying to be everything to everyone instead of just like what made season 1 had a real identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 lost that in some spots, but started and ended strong. But season 3 is trying to do too many things, and so it ends up diluted and not having its identity that it started with in season 1.
Okay, yeah, it was Stud Lake. I shared that one cool fig. Yeah, I guess that it was Stud Lake who made the human Java. And then Will said, I ordered the dark blue hairpiece for Thrawn since the new fig has black hair. Yeah, that sounds cool. And then A Cup says they try to mix it with Boba, etc. Oh, okay, I get what you mean. Yeah. And then Will says, I need to get it. Are you talking about the human Java minifigure? How are you guys gonna sell that actually? Like, how is that gonna be sold? I really enjoyed all of Mando myself. I don't see the drop off personally. Okay,
Interesting,
I guess,
cool, huh?
to each their own. I mean, I'm glad that you
Yeah.
enjoyed it, of course. Although he did say that the Acolyte was the first Star Wars that he finds a chore to watch after 40 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Acolyte yet, but that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that they're just not really fans of it. It's not great. We'll see. I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Well, looks like that's the end of the comments. So,
But yeah, I think there's going to be hits and there's going to be misses in everything, and Disney is going to keep going back to the well for as long as they can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a good recommendation there. I will watch it kind of in one go because I think you're right. Like these kind of mini series, like watching one episode disconnected from another is way less interesting than watching 3 or 4 in a row, and you get more of a complete picture when you watch several episodes in a row. So I will take that under advisement.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that might work better actually. Who knows? Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And then, cool. Anyone make a Wilro Hood fig yet? Who is Wilro Hood? Do you know what they're talking about? Walter?
I'm not sure who that is now.
And then Cool Han Luke Bricks said, the shorter episodes and other enough time to settle into each other really kills it. We need 40 minutes to 1 hour at least. Yeah, that makes sense. Ice cream maker guy. Oh, is that from the Acolyte? Or where? Sorry, I haven't seen the Acolyte yet. If it's from there. The back.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Character guy in Cloud City running with the ice cream maker. And then Brick Flicks says, nice collection.
Oh,
Never
thank
seen
you.
around Brick Flicks, so make sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, thank you, I guess, for what's your name again? I blanked out. James Collection.
Yeah, no, I thank you. I'm super lucky, and it's funny because like this is all like set stuff. The other room has a bunch more mock stuff in it that I need to switch some of it into my background. But we'll hopefully, I don't know if my Forestman mock will fit on there when it's done, but we'll see.
Brickflick says, I liked and subscribed. Thank you so much, man. Also, make sure to subscribe to Walter Limited. So, yeah. And Will says, I saw something about the blue jeans guy from Mando being a fake. Who's the blue jeans guy from Mando?
There's a guy that you can see, like one of the crew members, you can see, like, gets caught in one of the shots, one of the video crew guys.
That's funny.
So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that that I think would be hilarious to see call outs to, like, see Lego drop something like that into a set. That would be hilarious.
For sure. And then let's see, anyone else? I guess, yeah, that's it for the comments. Yeah.
the weird stuff, that's right, Will.
Yeah, the weird stuff is cool. Always.
I love it when Lego is cheeky, like, and they throw stuff in that's just like, yeah, we're poking fun at ourselves, or we're poking fun at like the subject matter or whatever. Like that kind of stuff is my favorite stuff to see.
Like Darth Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, like this whole Rebuild the Galaxy series, like that is just, it's just gold. Like seeing that kind of stuff come through, super interesting, and like a different take and a different spin, and like, sure, it's another X-Wing and TIE Fighter, but they got interchangeable parts, and there's interesting minifigs. Yeah, the child on board sticker in the UCS Razor Crest, that perfect. That's another one that, yeah, like those kind of little Easter eggs are the best when you see that kind of stuff, and just know that like people are doing their dream job and just having fun as designers. Like, because and that's the stuff that a lot of us like, right? Is like, we like the property, but we also want some creativity and something interesting.
That X-Wing is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, like I'm actually interested to get that one in hand, because like I think the TIE Fighter wings on the X-Wing body I think looks really cool. The X-Wings on the TIE Fighter body don't do as much for me, but
really, I'm quite the opposite way around. I think that the X-Wing with the TIE Fighter wings looks abysmal, but the TIE Fighter cockpit with the X-Wings looks pretty cool and really sleek in a weird way.
That's hilarious. See, and I love that. Like, that's awesome that like people can have such different opinions, and that's what makes the world interesting. Like I love disagreeing with people. You know, because I love to hear what other people think. I love to hear and you know, if we all like the same thing, it'd be boring.
For sure.
I mean, even if everybody liked all the same things that I liked, the world would be pretty boring, because it'd just be like,
X-Wing with TIE wings has no engines or weaponry. Yeah, that is a statement, because the X-Wing engines are on the wings, whereas TIE Fighter engines are on the cockpit. So you have a double engine for the TIE Fighter cockpit with X-Wings, but the X-Wing with TIE Fighter wings has no engine. So
don't confuse me with the facts, Cool Hun Luke.
Yeah.
Don't confuse me with the facts. It looks neat.
I'm buying all the sets for the figs anyway, so I can't wait to compare the X-Wing and TIE Fighter to last year's variants. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I think they definitely look worse, but I don't know. Yeah, they don't look horrible though
they
on their
look
own.
sturdy. They look
Yeah,
sturdy,
yeah.
and that's the key thing. Like, so my 5-year-old is the one that plays with Lego the most. My daughters that are 8 and 10
Mm-hmm.
play with Lego a decent amount still, but my 5-year-old plays with it the most. And like those Lego designers have their work cut out for them, because if you've ever seen a 5-year-old running around with a Lego set, whoo, doggy, they are not gentle. So getting something that's sturdy and looks good
Mm-hmm.
is that's tough.
Like, how rough will he be with the Lego?
I mean, he wants to have, like, so he loves the mechs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The
and
Star Wars next.
like the Star Wars mechs, the superhero mechs, like he loves that kind of stuff. And so and he will battle with them like action figures. And so, he's pretty rough with them, and parts go flying from time to time. Welcome, Life Bricks, and Hoarder 66 says,
What's
how
up?
many parts will it take to turn them into something I will keep built? And that's the best part about Lego, is no matter how bad the set is, you can turn it into something else.
What's up, Tyler? How you doing, man? ACOP says, no, my bad. ACOP says, Starlight Pit FPJ. I feel like it's a ripoff, but it looks dang cool. So,
That one will definitely be a discount boy for me. Like, I think the Sarlacc pit looks good, and the skiff looks great.
Yeah,
but I don't buy anything at full price though. I mean, I am probably FPJ's worst enemy, but when you're a father of 5, that's how you have to live your life.
No, I'm also not an FPJ type of person almost ever. Like, unless it's a small cheap set, sometimes. But like, I'll try to look for stuff half off. Usually.
Oh yeah, if I can,
Yeah.
it starts at like 20% off is where I'll really start looking for stuff. Unless there's a cool GWP and double points, like that will sometimes get me to buy something full price, but it's still a discount with the double points and stuff.
I don't know. I feel like all the GWPs that are actually cool have such a high threshold, and that's why I don't own a single GWP. So yeah.
The good news is most of them you can get for like $30 to $50 if you really like it.
Really, on the aftermarket, I thought that there were a lot more, like the really cool ones, like Forestman's Hideout, or like the Blacktron one, or something like that.
So for like, if you want them new in box, you might pay a little bit more, but like Forestman's Hideout, you can get that one used. You can get that one new for about $35, I think.
Oh yeah, that's not too bad.
The Magistos one you can get for like $20 new.
Yeah, everyone hated that thing. I mean,
I don't understand the hate. I thought it was pretty decent.
Me neither. But I mean, in my opinion, they should have done a better Magisto since what is it? Since the Lion Knight's Castle, because that's a pretty bad Magisto. But I mean, other than the minifigures being kind of rough, I mean the torso for the Dragon Knights is cool. It's just, no leg printing sucks nowadays.
Right. Well, and that's why the Forestman was so good. Like, that Forestman Hideout GWP was so good, because all of the specialized parts in that one, the special prints, were being used in the Lion Knight's Castle. And so they didn't have to spend any of their budget on special prints.
Yeah.
So, that's something that, it pays off. Like, if, and which also makes me sad with the Magisto one, because that means, since we haven't seen that torso anywhere else, it makes it very unlikely that we're going to get more of those Dragon Masters, because it got made as a one-off thing.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed by that, truth be told.
But and that's the problem with GWPs are never going to have as many prints or special pieces as anything else because it's a giveaway. They're not making money on it on the set itself. So.
Yep. I mean, that's why I just think that they should have made it a set and given it more unique prints.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of those are testers. Like they put them out there to see, does it influence sales? Because I mean, the Lego Group has all kinds of analytic data that they can track, and so they can put out a GWP and see did that make a difference in our sales during that time period based on this GWP, right? Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, then they're not going to make more, or it's less likely that they will make more of that kind of thing. So they're pretty smart with how they test the water with things. And that's part of the reason that they bought Bricklink was also so that they could see what sells on the secondhand market and see what's really hot, what's moving, and not just moving for high values, but moving high volumes. Because Lego's not around like the even the Bricklink designer programs that are super limited run, right? 30,000 in this most recent Bricklink designer program. That's a limited run for Lego. 30,000 sets sold in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm. So, Kuhan Luke Bricks. Well, first, Will said, Sean, I'm going FPJ on like 5 of the sets, not gonna lie. But he's talking about the new Star Wars sets. And then Kuhan Luke Bricks said, Sean, man, that Sarlacc, displayed together, Luke would have to jump high to fall in that pit.
Yes, it would be a high jump. High jump into the pit. But yeah, have a good rest there, Kuhan Luke Bricks. I hope you sleep well. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Rest. Get a great night's sleep, man. Hope to see. And then he says, I got to hit the hay, gents. It's 3:05 a.m. here. It's been great hanging out with all of you. I hope to see you on my own streams very soon. They are coming. See you all there. Nostal, good night. Yeah, we'll see you later, man. Again, if you ever need a guest on your live stream, I'm always willing to do it if I can. So there you go. And then Will just says night, Kuhan. Yeah, good night, man. So yeah. So I see you got the Dungeons and Dragons set, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I think it's a pretty fun build. There are a lot of Easter eggs. I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons in several years. I played a bunch when I was in like high school and college, and there are a ton of things in there that are cool callbacks that I noticed. But I'm definitely not the super D&D fan that would notice them all. So I'm sure there's tons that I'm missing. But I thought it was a great build. There's some really interesting techniques, cool parts. The dragon I think is really well done. People didn't like that it was color changed from green to the red and orange, but like if you look at Dungeons and Dragons, like that's the iconic dragon color. The red is kind of the iconic Dungeons and Dragons color. So I think it's a fun set. The minifigures are great. I love that they gave you the ability to swap the characters, their heads and hair and everything, and make so many cool different combos with them. For that, I think it's awesome. I'm stoked to see what the CMFs are going to be like. I think those collectible minifigs will be amazing. So I really like it. I'm a big fan. It probably is not long for this world. It'll almost certainly get ripped apart sometime soon, and the pieces used for something else. Really? Most stuff doesn't survive it. Most of my collection gets taken apart and built into other things.
Just because you want to?
Yeah, I mean, like the set's cool, and there are a few things like Like Rivendell I really like, but it'll probably, like, just space wise, I only have so much display space, so it'll eventually get taken apart. And like nothing is like, none of the sets are like sacred to me. None of them are too special to pull apart, because like I can put them back together. I have the parts still, but you know, if I'm tired of looking at whatever on my shelf, it'll come apart. So, you know, there are a few sets that I've pulled apart and like put in bags so that I can not have to look for the parts and I can just reassemble them another time. But yeah, like I would say 90% of my sets get torn down and the parts just get used for whatever else. Because I think that's the fun of Lego, is building something else. Like, to build a set once and then set it on the shelf and never do anything with it again. Like, I personally don't get much value out of them. Because it's like, okay, that's neat, but you know, to me, a lot of the fun is in the build, right? Whether that's building the set or building, you know, a mock out of the parts for something else. So, no, Hoarder, I have not seen those leaked images. I'll have to maybe go looking for them. I'm also trying, though, to cut down on how much I'm looking, like actively going out and looking for leaks, because I'm finding that it takes some of the fun out of it. Like if you're always looking for the next thing, like, I mean, people are already starting to talk about 2025 leaks. And it's like, all the 2024 sets aren't out yet. Like, so you know,
I agree. Like,
if people are talking about it on something, you know, if you know ACOB does their updates from time to time, and that's cool. I'll listen and see what's there and whatever. But I'm not like actively going out and looking for them, because I'm just like, I'll hear about it eventually. Somebody in my lug or a podcast that I'm watching, or somebody's going to mention it, and I'll see it. But you know, when Lego releases the pictures a month before it releases, or 2 weeks before it releases, or whatever, cool. I'm fine with that. If I end up seeing a leak beforehand because it comes across something I was going to look at anyway, all right. But you know, especially with most of the sets being on shelves for a couple of years, it's like, okay, because people are burned out a lot of the times because they've talked about stuff so much because of the leaks and everything, that by the time it comes out, they're like, yeah, I'm bored with this. Like, you haven't even built the set yet.
Yeah, no, to me, I was okay. Like, okay, well, first I wanted to address this, and it's just Sean saying sending them to the old parts paradigm. Yeah, when you tear apart a set and use them for mocks. But what I wanted to say was that I feel like, especially when a new prequel UCS set comes out, it's like the most like overblown, like just like fuzz made about it, like before the set even releases. Like the gunship, I wasn't even like a Star Wars fan at the time, or like a Lego Star Wars fan at the time, and it reached out to me. Like, I wasn't seeking it, and it's like everyone's just talking about it. And then the UCS Venator, which did come out when I was a Lego Star Wars fan, when I was a Star Wars fan and a Lego Star Wars fan, that one was like, you know, it's just people talked about it so much that the day that the reviews came out, like Ryan's review and David's review and everyone else's review, I couldn't watch it. It took me a couple of days to get myself to watch a review, just because I was so exhausted by everyone just talking about it over and over again, and it just gets so overblown, and it's just well, even before the reviews come out, it gets old.
Right. And that's one of the places where I think so many people are disappointed when the set finally does come out, is because like Falcon or Brick Clicker or whoever will leak a set name and a set number, and people will start dreaming of what that could be, right? Yeah. And they'll put all these expectations out there, and it could have these minifigs and it could have this. And then they see the picture and it doesn't live up to their imagination. because their imagination isn't economically feasible to do in whatever the price point of the set is usually. And you know, I'm guilty of the same thing. I'm like, oh, that's going to be awesome. You know, this $100 set. But I have like $300. It's the whole champagne tastes on a beer diet, right? Or on a beer budget. You know, our imaginations are so powerful and so good, and people are such big fans of the different properties that they have all these things that they want, and then they get the set, which would have been good if they'd never heard anything about it and they saw it on a store shelf. They'd probably be like, oh, that's a pretty cool set. But even sets that are really good, by the time they come out, like, it's like, You imagine just rolling up to shelves and seeing stuff for the first time. Kind of miss those days of being surprised and delighted in the toy aisle. Exactly, Sean. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I remember rolling up, you know, when I was a kid, rolling up to the store shelves at Toys R Us or Walmart or wherever, and like there'd be a new Castle set that, like, whoa, I didn't even know this was coming, right? And it's just magical. And, you know, there's so much lead time on everything. And I don't blame anybody for that, you know. People are the people who are doing all the leaks, that's, you know, they're doing it to put food on the table or to feed their fandom or whatever else. The people who are discussing it ad nauseum on their different things, like, that's their business. That's what they're doing. Great. I feel a lot the same way about sports too. Like, I'm a big sports fan. I love like NBA basketball. I love college football. But
how about NFL?
NFL is pretty decent. I'd rather watch college football than NFL football,
Why?
and I'd rather watch NBA basketball than college basketball.
Why is that?
But I just like the games better, like the way that the games flow. Don't get me wrong, like, NFL is a ton of fun, but the games seem to grind more. Like, they seem to take forever, just because of all the advertisements and all the breaks and everything. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I can't watch ESPN because, like, I just get bored of hearing people rehash the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again all day long. But yeah, I like to have, exactly, Sean. Hype is awesome, but I got to say that the executive committee dropped out of nowhere. It was so wild.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome. Agreed, Hoarder. They never can, because people steal stuff, but like, those flip top boxes were legendary. Oh my gosh, I loved that, being able to pop it open and see a bunch of the parts and extra art and everything. Those boxes were awesome.
I feel like just when I see people open those boxes, it feels so much more premium and fancy. Like, I don't know how to explain it, than like a normal Lego box. Like, it just feels deluxe. Like, you're opening something really special.
Yeah. I mean, and the difference though was, like, the only publicity the sets were getting were like pictures this big, or a page this big on the catalog that was included in the box that had pictures of the sets that were like the size of a quarter. And so the boxes in the store had to do a lot more of the selling, right? Now, like, you can go and you can get all of that content on the internet, and you can have it in HD and blow it up, and you can zoom in and you can look at the butt on the tiger and whatever else. Like, you can see all of that in, you know, ultra HD, where the box had to do a lot more of the work back in the day.
I don't know why, but when you said the butt of the tiger, it reminded me so much of the eye of the tiger. And then I just, in my head, I'm just playing butt of the tiger.
There you go, Sean. There's a song you can put on the next ACOB album,
yeah,
the butt of the tiger.
Butt of the tiger. Yeah. Actually, that would be perfect. Will says yes, Oaktown exactly. Coffin boxes are back, no window though. Yeah, I don't know if you saw James, but they are back. The opening that way.
Yeah,
Although,
the lift up tops.
although I don't know what it is, but I feel like the cardboard is thinner on the inside than it used to be. Whereas
Yeah.
before it looked like pretty thick cardboard before. And that I think that was kind of the classy part of it. You could see the race base plates and the pirate ship sails and flags. Oh, that's so cool. Such a great time to be alive. The brown eye of the tiger. Does brown eye mean butt? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Airport shuttle box weighs 80 pounds.
You don't have it yet, though, right, Sean? I mean, the airport shuttle is a beautiful set, but very expensive nowadays. Do you have it, James?
I do not. No. like I said, my brother has all the city stuff from when we were kids, and like that monorail stuff was always out of reach for my my income level when they were available. My paper route was not getting the job done on those higher end sets at that point.
I do. We showed it. When did you show it, Sean? I forgot. Was it on one of the most recent ACOB episodes? Because I still need to rewatch that last one that everyone says the hype was insane for. But yeah. Or did he show it in Brickworld Chicago and did I just not see it? But yeah. No, like a year and a half. Really? A year and a half ago you got it? I thought that you had it like... I thought that it was your white whale, Sean. I guess that I heard wrong. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Some people get their white whales.
Well, okay, actually, okay. After this, I'll ask you something. But if I ever win the lottery, I might not say anything, but there will be science. Oh yes, for sure. I think any Lego fan will show that. I think you'll see me immediately buy a maybe I don't know, maybe an Ewok village and a 2010 Imperial flagship and I don't know, Barracuda.
Oh, that
Bay,
Imperial flagship, yes.
Bounty, and you'll see a lot of it. You'll see a lot of signs. The Temple of Jitsu, maybe. I don't know. You'll see plenty of signs, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of cool Lego sets. But what are your white whales, James?
The Imperial flagship is definitely one that's up there. It would be high on the list. I actually have one. So this right here is a bunch of parts from a bulk lot I picked up recently. It is the Death Star, the original Death Star playset. A buddy of mine tipped me off, and some other people. He's like, "Hey, I went to a thrift store and I thought I saw the frame of the Death Star in a bin of Lego that was on a top shelf." Hey, Legos and Things, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, Lego and Things? Will says, Brickworld Chicago tickets for everyone for the next 5 years. Well, I hope that you win the lottery, man.
Right?
I don't know if I'll have money to go next year, truth be told. Hopefully I will, but yeah.
Start saving now.
Start saving now, exactly.
Yeah, so definitely the Death Star is one that has been on my list for a while, but I could never justify spending the price for it. But I went to that thrift store and picked up the bulk lot, and I have all of the parts and about, I think, 80% of the minifigure parts.
Cool.
In that bulk lot. So I've got to replace a few heads and torsos and things, but that will cost me, I don't know, probably less than $100 to replace the parts that I need to replace. So that was one of them. Let's see, the Rancor pit like is definitely on the list.
Do you have Jabba's palace to go with it?
I actually, in that same bulk lot, I didn't know it was in there until I started sorting through it. But Jabba's palace was in that bulk lot too. I scored big time with that bulk lot. It's
How
probably,
much was it, if you don't mind sharing?
I spent about $500 on it.
Oh my God! What else did you get in there?
So here is Jabba's palace.
Oh, holy shoot!
This is most of the sail barge parts.
The 2013 sail barge?
Including the sails and the Jabba, and that's Max Rebo, and so that was in there.
Did it come with Slave Leia?
Yeah, all of the figures are there for that one.
My God.
This little gal was in there.
Oh my God.
And her ship. The only thing that was missing from... Yeah, the sub was in there. The only thing that was missing from these guys, the only thing that I've got to get is Luke and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's heads were the only things missing from this entire thing. Their capes were there, like everything.
The head and the
hair? No, the hair's there too. Like, just the heads were missing. Like, they had some just like random yellow heads on them. Like, everything else was there.
A-Top said, gotta roll night, boys. Fun show. Thanks so much for coming, Sean. Have a great night. We'll see you later.
So, yeah, this was the best bulk score of my life.
Yeah, mine for sure. Oh, no.
I'm not even done going through it. Like, I'm still finding stuff. There's, what else have I got here? Oh, yeah, there's a Yoda's Starfighter. There's also, so this is one of the old classic castle set. Not classic, but like the horses with the Dragon Knights.
Cool.
With these bardings, like the Black Knight's castle, I think it's called. And every single thing was there. Like every shield. I think I'm missing one plume. Like just bananas. So yeah, like the craziest score I've ever gotten. I teased my buddy. I've been giving him a hard time since he found this for me, telling him like, all right, dude, you found me, the Jabba's palace. Now you got to find me the Rancor pit in a thrift find to to finish it off. Mm-hmm. So
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, crazy deal. 500 was a lot to spend on a bulk lot. Yeah, 500 was a ton to spend on a bulk lot, but I mean, it is way more than $500 worth of value.
Yeah. For me, my best one was it wasn't a bulk lot, but it was just I got a big bulk lot. I got someone's collection for free, so that was nice. But
nice.
Yeah. It had some modular buildings. I don't have all the parts to them, but yeah, pretty much every set is incomplete, but it was a lot of nice stuff. So they gave me that for free. So that was cool. But like things that I actually bought that I found and seeked, I was at a flea market and I found it was Market Street. It's missing the market side, but it has the roof of the market side, and it doesn't have the most the most top floor and the roof of the main building. So they swapped out the roofs. And again, so it's only one of the base plates, and it has none of the minifigures and none of the staircases inside. So it's about 75% complete, if you will. But it was only $10. So I'm like,
can't turn that down.
You can't turn that down. And that's like what, maybe, what I got there was at least $200 probably.
Yeah, and you can probably part together the rest of it for not that expensive.
Yeah, truth be told, yeah, so that was nice. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane.
Yeah, every single time that like I get done sorting a bulk lot, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so much work. I'm never doing it again. And then I get another one because it's like, I can't pass up this deal because they're just too good. So, And that's, I mean, that it all is, it's trading time and money, right? Because I could go buy all the stuff that I've got here, but it would cost thousands of dollars what I got in this bulk lot for 500. But I have spent a lot of time, sorting and searching and cleaning it up and everything. So it's just a trade-off.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you could, I guess, you don't need to unbox it and sort everything immediately. You can take your time with it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's still a process. It's over there on the floor.
So what else do you think that you have there?
I think I've found most of the bigger stuff. Like there's a ton of parts in there still. Like there is thousands of parts, which is actually, if you build mocks, the bulk lot is awesome because like you get finds like this, that like the Death Star and the Jabba's palace and everything, which is great. And immediately, like I feel like I got my money's worth. But I have like giant bins of like, this is all just bricks.
That was part of the bulk lot as well.
That was part of the bulk lot.
That's nice.
So like just bricks to build stuff with. Because like my bulk brick, like for my current mock that I'm building for Brick Fair, I used almost all of my like available 2x2 and 2x4 brick building it up. Like just random color stuff underneath. And so I was like, oh crap, I'm running out. But then I found this bulk lot and now I have another huge pile of random brick that I can use. So, there's a bunch of stuff in there that I won't end up using that I'll probably end up selling or giving away or putting it in my kids' bins that like, and that's the nice thing is like we have a bunch of bins of just random parts that my kids will come down and just build whatever. Like we get them sets too from time to time, but they love to have random parts to just build stuff with. So, the bulk lots are clutch for that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that was insane. Like I'm shocked by that. That's like a score of a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably, if not the best, one of the best 2 or 3 scores that I've ever had in.
Wow. What else have you had?
So last summer, I got 2 summers ago. I stopped at a garage sale and a bin about the size that I showed you full of bricks, I got for I think $60. Mm-hmm. And that one wasn't as much for me, but they had like probably 20 or 30 friends and elves sets in it. And then a whole bunch of just extra parts. And so like my 2 younger daughters, they love all the friends stuff. So we just cleaned that up and like, all right, go to town. Like here's all the friends parts and mini dolls you could ever desire. Go nuts. Mm-hmm. So that one was a really good score. And then probably my best single purchase all time. I was out looking at garage sales and I always ask people at garage sales, have you got any Lego, even if there's none out? And a couple times it's paid off and people have brought stuff out like, oh yeah. But once last summer I said, hey, you got any Lego? They're like, no, we don't have any Lego, but our neighbor down a couple streets is also having a yard sale today. You should go check theirs out because they have a bunch of Lego. And so I rolled up and they were actually just leaving. They'd already packed everything up. And so they're like, yeah, you can come by tomorrow and look at it, right? So I came back the next day and it was they were keeping all the sets, but they were getting rid of the minifigures. Like they were keeping all the stuff to build, but selling off all the minifigures. So they had like probably 300 or 400 minifigures.
Wow.
And I started looking at them and there was a ton of really good stuff in there. So I was like, yeah, how much do you want for it? And they're like $2 a minifigure. So I actually ended up paying them $200 it was probably 400 minifigures for $200 is what it ended up coming down to.
You paid 50 cents per minifigure?
I paid 50 cents a minifigure.
Well, just because
and
you
in there, yeah, because they were like, yeah, we'll sell them to you for $2 a piece. I'm like, what if I just buy them all? They're like, $200. Like, I can't turn down that price. First of all, even if it's just like whatever figs, right? But in there was
unless it's just
oh my gosh, there were a few droids, but not much. There was like the Batman from the Batmobile with the molded cape and the Joker and everything. There was the old TIE fighter with like the Mimban Trooper and everything like that. All those figures.
Nice.
There was a bunch of different Iron Man variants, like the Scuba Iron Man and the Space Iron Man, and
cool.
like 4 or 5 figures were worth the $200 that I paid, and then I had just boatloads of other figures. I sold a few of them to pay for what I'd bought, and then like a bunch went to my kids, and then like probably half of the Iron Man collection that I have is from that lot. It was amazing, like just crazy score. Had like Hela from Thor. Yeah. Like all kinds of different stuff. So that one's probably the single best score pound for pound that I've gotten. But this one is really close. Not as many minifigures, but definitely amazing sets that I've been able to part together out of it. And I still have just boatloads of stuff left over afterwards that'll be great for building stuff with, just random mocks or my kids' mocks or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So do your kids build a lot of mocks or not really?
Yeah, I mean, they like to build sets, but most of their sets eventually get torn apart and used for mocks. And like the whole area off to my left over here is all like their play area, and they have like one of the little like Lego building tables that has like 4 base plates on it that currently has like kind of a zoo animal clinic whatever thing built on it, and that's been several different things. They build all kinds of stuff. My little dude loves to build mechs, all kinds of different mechs or ships, and so they love to just whatever comes out of their brain. One of my daughters built like a guitar out of Lego. Of course, the strings didn't work, but she built like basically a life-size guitar out of Lego.
That's cool.
Yeah. She like they just get creative, and they're like they've built cell phones before, like, you know, iPhone size cell phones that they use tiles and put all kinds of buttons all over it, and then they'll go around playing like they have a phone. So
yeah, that's funny. That's really
they're
cool.
super
so I guess
creative.
You guys have a really big parts collection.
We have a decent amount, that's for sure. Which sometimes is a problem because it gets spread everywhere.
I will ask this. So like the cell phone and the guitar, is it like a bunch of random colored pieces, or like a pretty solid color scheme?
So they'll try and find, like, depending on which kid it is. Like my 5-year-old doesn't care as much about what colors things are. He's just building different shapes. Like he'll build a castle and it'll be like, okay, dude, that's a castle. Cool. It doesn't look anything like a castle. Like it's just, he imagines it's a castle and it has some cool play functions that he's built into it. And like, awesome, dude, that's a castle. Great. The guitar, they actually dug through, and I think they used basically all of the like tan plate that they could find to build the guitar. So it was the body was tan and then had, I think, black for the neck. But yeah, so it just depends. Sometimes it'll be multicolored. Like their vet clinic is totally like rainbow barf color walls that they just like, we don't care. It's the stuff that's inside is what we're playing with. It just needs to have a wall to contain the play. So
is it fully enclosed from all sides?
No, it's enclosed. So like on the big square, like there's the walls toward the center of the square, toward the other things, and then the back two sides are totally open for them to play in.
Got it.
So yeah, I mean, the kids are all about play. Like they want play value. They want to, you know, act out a story or whatever.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of Lego.
Right, exactly. And that's you know, people can enjoy it however they want, but whenever I see people with like huge sealed set collections, I'm like, oh, that's too bad. Like none of that Lego's getting played with.
Look, like honestly, even if it sits on a shelf and you enjoy it, I think that's cool. But like, if it's sealed, like it just makes me sad. Truth be told.
Yeah, well, and you know, if that's how people enjoy it, great, good on them. But yeah, I am definitely like Lego is a toy to be played with in my house. You know, if that's what brings other people joy is to leave it in a box, you know, knock yourself out. But it's funny because the Lego store near me gets damaged boxes a lot of the time, so they sell them at a discount because they're damaged. Usually it's about 10% for the damaged box. And they always, every time you buy one with a damaged box, they're like, yeah, you can't return this. And I always look at them like, have you ever seen me bring Lego back to the store? Like, you know, we're going to open this and play with it. And they're like, yeah, we know, but we have to say it. So.
Yeah. I'll say this. Is the torso the only exclusive piece on the Yuletide pilot from the Holiday X-Wing? Well, I think also the leg print. Yeah, I believe so. And then I love that Duck Bricks opens up everything, even the extremely rare. Yep, I agree. Yep.
The only thing with Duck Bricks is his basement gives me anxiety. Like there's just too much stuff in there. And I'm like, it's going to avalanche.
PBJ Builds. Hello. What's up, PBJ Builds?
Hey, welcome.
You're at Brickworld Chicago. I don't know if you met PBJ at Brickworld Chicago.
I may have met him, but I did not meet him as PBJ.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
That's sometimes the hard thing, syncing up people's like handles with like their regular names.
Yeah. That can definitely be hard. Do you keep your boxes?
I do not keep boxes. I think that's one of the very few boxes from the Bricklink Designer Pro or from the AFOL Designer Program before the Bricklink Designer Program. That's one of the very few boxes that I have. Like I have a few of like the architecture boxes, but it's because of the way that they open, they're useful for storage. But yeah, by and large, all the boxes get recycled. Lego takes up so much space anyway. Like the boxes isn't just one more thing that would take up space. And like, I don't see a lot of value in them.
Yeah, I keep my boxes personally. I don't know why. I just think that they're cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, there's definitely awesome art on some of them. Like the UCS Millennium Falcon that had like the cool art on the boxes. I thought about keeping that one, but that box especially was just so huge.
I mean, you could always put boxes inside of boxes. So.
Right, but eventually, like, there's just so much that it's like,
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know where people have enough room to store all the boxes, but you know, for the box collectors, good on them. All of my boxes, like I say, I end up buying a ton of like smashed boxes, whether it's from Lego or like Walmart, or you order from Amazon and they come just absolutely wrecked. Like I just throw them out unless they're useful for like for sorting or storage or whatever. So Yeah, totally will. Like I know a ton of people do that, and like, you know, I'm I hope you guys, find good use for them or get joy out of them. Um, but like I did keep the Black Seas, or not the Black Seas Barracuda, the um Pirates of Barracuda Bay. Yeah, I kept that one for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I had it for probably 2 years, and then while I was in the military, I moved a ton. And in the 2 years that I had it, I never pulled it out and like looked at it or anything. So I was like, when I went to move, I was just like, nope, I haven't used it in 2 years. So, I'm not going to pull it out and look at it often enough for it to matter. And especially with the internet now, like boxes from like 20 or 30 years ago, I totally get, because like you couldn't just go look up the pictures, the artwork that was on the box, right? But now so much stuff, like you can go look at the boxes anytime, whether it's on the Lego website or somewhere else, that like the box collecting doesn't have any draw for me with newer sets.
Yeah, I think especially with some of the black box art, it's like, what's the point, kind of? But like,
yeah, the black box art boxes are pretty boring for most of them.
yeah. I mean, I think that the one that finally really tired me out of the black box art was the Avengers Tower. I'm like, why is that black? Why can't we have a New York City background with like a taxi on the street or something? Like that would have been so much cooler.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that I think would look better with different art, and I have nostalgia for the old yellow boxes. Like I think they did awesome with the Lion Knight's Castle box, going the throwback to the yellow, the Pirates of Barracuda Bay throwback to the yellow. I think those boxes are amazing, but those ones too, like, all right, it was cool. Out into the recycle bin you go. So if anybody wants to come pick up boxes from me that likes the boxes, by all means, let me know. I'll save them for you. But
yeah, and like to me, like truth be told, like if I'm getting an old set like in a bulk lot or something, like I'm not gonna buy a box for it. Like
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's totally. I'm not gonna pay, because some of those boxes are crazy.
Yeah,
like the Jabba sail barge or the Death Star boxes. Like I don't even want to find out how much those cost.
Wow.
For a box that I'm just gonna fold up and stick on a shelf. Like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I can, like I say, buy the damaged boxes and get discounts on them from the different stores, and it saves me money. And it immediately I say, you know what? I'm just gonna throw it out.
Sorry, I need to charge my phone. So.
Oh, you're good.
Let's see.
I'm with you, PBJ Builds. I have no room for boxes. Hey, Zisu, how's it going? Welcome.
What's up, Zizu? How are you doing, man? Have you seen Zizu around? Like, I will ask you this, James. Are any of the people in the chat like people that you know?
So I've seen Hoarder on different streams in different chats that I've been on. Definitely ACOB.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Coolhan Luke, I've seen around. Yeah. I haven't seen Brickflix before. Life Brick's definitely seen before. Brick Hive stopped in earlier before the stream.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen PBJ and Zisu's names before, but not much. I don't recall interacting with them. So these are definitely some good, people that I haven't seen before. Want to get to know for sure.
Yeah, a lot of nice people in this community, which is a great
Absolutely. Thing. Yeah, like I said earlier, that's the only problem is I've met too many awesome people. Now I can't, even when I go to conventions, there's not enough time to hang out with everybody.
Yeah. That's definitely true. Let's see. Yeah, for sure. PBJ says cool. Yeah. I don't think that Zizu, did he go to Berkworld Chicago? Well, are you even American? Sorry, I forget. And if so, I definitely didn't meet you.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, especially with people's different handles. Sometimes you have no idea where somebody's from.
72-hour stream starts soon, Thursday. Yeah, I think that I'm participating in that on Friday. So that'll be cool.
Whose channel is that one on?
It's people alternate. So
okay.
Yeah, it's called, so it's not a 72-hour live stream on one particular channel. It's across different channels. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So like, it's like you jump from one channel to another. So like ACOG,
kind of like a raid train on Twitch or whatever.
Yeah, it's exactly like a raid train on Twitch, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you watch Twitch?
I have in the past, especially during the pandemic. I watched a lot more, but unfortunately, most of the time, I work from an office where I don't have my phone and I don't have like normal internet access. So, I don't have a ton of time to watch content. That's also why I get way far behind with like Star Wars and things, because there's just no time. Mm-hmm. Like I've been working from home the last about month and a half or 2 months. Mm-hmm. And so like I've actually been able to, like, while I'm sitting working on stuff, I'll just turn on a movie or a TV show in the background and just listen to it while I'm doing my work, or a podcast or whatever else. And so I've been able to see a lot more. But yeah, starting Monday, I'm going to be back in an office again where I will no longer be streaming anything at work, unfortunately.
Why? Like, is there no internet access at your job?
No, just the job that I do. There's not access to, and not only that, like there's so much computing going on at my work that like you don't have the bandwidth to stream video or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like every once in a while I'll stream like music, and even that a lot of the time will be so choppy just because there's so much computing going on that.
Oof, that's rough. What's your job, if you can share?
So I'm an analyst and a linguist for the Department of Defense.
What does that mean?
So I do analysis for basically the military.
So do you speak different languages then?
Yeah, I speak Russian. I used to speak Arabic. It's very rusty now. I speak French. So a few.
That's cool.
Speak English a little bit.
Thesis says, no worries. Yes, in the USA, Kentucky. Okay, that's where he lives. And then he says, I did not go to Brickworld, Chicago. Too many people for me. Don't be afraid of that, Zizu. It's you get to meet a lot of cool, nice people. But yeah.
It is a lot of people though. Like,
yeah,
especially on public days, it is stupid crowded.
I would just say don't go into the convention hall on public days if you're scared of that. Yeah.
I speak Americanese. That's right, Will. Perfect.
I speak Americanese and Mexicanese. So there you go. So yeah, English and Spanish. That's it for me.
Hey, that's plenty. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that I wish that I spoke. I need to at some point learn. Like, I understand a decent bit of Spanish because of French, but Yeah, Spanish would certainly come in useful a lot of the time. Yeah, PBJ, you're right. The public days were a little less crowded this year than last year. Last year he definitely had probably 1,000 or 2,000 people more each public day last year than he did this year. His numbers were down just a little bit, but he had way more convention attendees than yeah. So a little bit of a trade-off there.
I thought public days this year at Brickworld Chicago had less people. Oh yeah, you just said that. Yeah, maybe I guess. Yeah, it wasn't as crowded when I went in. And then Zizu says I stick with the smaller conventions for now. I mean,
there's a lot to be said for the smaller conventions, Zizu. Like there's a small Brickworld Virginia or Brick Fair Virginia that's done in Fredericksburg every year. That has only probably 200 or 300 private attendees, and they're a lot of fun because it is so much smaller. You can actually spend time with all the people there instead of I don't get me wrong, Brickworld Chicago is awesome. I love it. But there's a ton of people that I really like that I just didn't get to spend time with this year because there were so many people
I wish
that I wanted to see.
Yeah, I wish I could have talked to so many more people. But I know their content, for example, but I hardly got to talk to them.
Yeah, for sure. And that's that's hard because when you are friends with too many people, it's hard to spend time with all of them. But yeah, that's something fun about the smaller shows. You can interact a lot more with a higher percentage of the people, and they're very chill on the private days. There'll be 100 or 200 people there at a time instead of 1,000.
And the public days on those, how full do they get?
Reasonably full. So at Brick Slopes last year, they had, I want to say 7,000 or 8,000 last year at Brick Slopes, and there were 400 private attendees. So, yeah, and Brick Fair, the small Brick Fair had several thousand. I mean, it was as full for parts of the time as the main Brick Fair is. So, because it's a totally different group of people, because Fredericksburg and the location, the Dulles Expo Center where the main Brick Fair is, are an hour and a half drive apart. Mm-hmm. And so totally different people attending. So you get a whole different crowd of people that never make it up to the big Brick Fair that came through at the smaller one.
Yeah, I wish that there were definitely more Lego conventions near me.
Yeah, it's kind of all the ones that were out right around you died, huh?
Yeah, Bricks LA I know died, and then Bricks by the Bay I know died, so that was unfortunate.
Yeah. The Brick Slopes is pretty close. I mean, not really close, but pretty close.
Yeah, it's maybe a 12 to 16-hour drive, maybe. So
yeah. I've made that drive a few times between my sister's house out in the Bay Area to my parents' house in Salt Lake, and it's not a terrible drive.
How long is it? What do you say then?
Probably, I think you're right. 12 or 13 hours is pretty fair.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So that one and Brick Slopes is an incredible convention. Cody Otley and his crew run an amazing convention. He's such a good dude, one of the best people in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to meet him, not talk to him too much, but he was trying to convince me at Brickworld Chicago to go to Brick Slopes. So yeah, I don't know. Probably won't be able to make it this year, but yeah.
Yeah. If you get a chance, some year absolutely go. You'll have a great time.
Yeah,
Cody and Brian and the team there put on a great show. Lots of cool stuff. Good facility. It's not like Chicago with the hotel attached. It's more like Brick Fair or most of the other ones where the hotel and the expo center are separate. Oh, excuse me.
So, like, are the hotels there a lot cheaper than the Renaissance Hotel?
They're a little bit cheaper. Yeah. I think I haven't stayed in a hotel there personally because my parents live out there, like 5 minutes from or it's probably 10 minutes from the expo center where they have it. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying for a hotel. I'll just go crash on my parents' guest bedroom. But yeah, no, it is a lot of fun, and it's great because like last year was the first time I went to Slopes, and I would hang out in the morning with my parents, and got to see them, and went and visited my grandpa and stuff, and then in the afternoon
your
and
grandpa's
evening.
Still around?
He actually passed last year just after Brick Slopes, so it was actually perfect that I got to go and visit him. It was about 3.5 weeks later that he passed away. So I was very lucky to be able to go see him one more time. The timing worked out really well. But yeah, went and did all that, and in the mornings hung out with family, and then in the evenings, afternoon and evening, went and hung out with all the friends.
Yeah, that is cool. That must have been a ton of fun.
It was awesome. It was
as
awesome.
Someone who, like you, as someone who has been to Brick Fair, Virginia, Brick Slopes, and Brick World, Chicago, what would you say is like the best Lego convention?
That's hard. Brick Slopes is definitely, or Brick World is definitely the biggest. And I like the way that it's organized. And it like they all have totally different vibes. Like every convention has a different like culture kind of.
What would you say are the difference in vibes?
So like Brick World, Mark and the people there, like there's a lot more tie-in to all of the like social media, and like there's a lot more presentations and seminars and things like that. There are fewer games. Brick Fair has fewer presentations, but more games typically.
What do you mean by games?
So like at Brick Fair, there'll be a bunch of different drafts and like bingo and putt and like blind builds and like team blind builds where one person can see the instructions and one person can see the pieces, or you'll do missing part builds where somebody goes through beforehand and pulls like a random part out of each of the sets and then gives the sets to the contestants, and they drop the piece that they took out of the set in somebody else's set. So you have to build your set and figure out what part is missing and then go steal it from somebody else to finish your build. And it doesn't matter who you take it from. It can be the one that has the extra one or not. So everybody's trying to get all the parts for their build. And you can't take pieces off of somebody's build if they've already built it. But like anything in their parts pile that they're still working with, you can steal that. Or, they'll do a skyscraper build where, you get a pile of bricks and see who can build the tallest structure that actually stands up by itself. And so there'll be most of the day, every day, Wednesday through Friday, there's a game of some kind going on, whether it's a draft or a speed build or a, whatever. There's something going on.
That's cool. Yeah.
So that to me is the best part of the Brick Fairs is there's many more games typically. And then Brick Slopes, of course, I'm biased because I get to visit my family and stuff. I love that. It is smaller. So the same with the small Brick Fair and Brick Slopes. It's smaller. It feels more intimate. It feels, I like that about those. And then Brick World and Brick Slopes both. There's a lot more like outside the convention hall hanging out that goes on. With Brick World, because it's attached to the hotel's attached to the convention hall, so there's a lot more hanging out there. And then Brick Slopes, the hotel is just down the street, but people will go out and just like hang out around the pool in the evenings and just like chill until like 2 or 3 in the morning at Brick Slopes. Where Brick Fair, there's less like people typically are either in the convention hall or they're gone. Like there's not as much hanging out that goes on. Like small groups will hang out, but like the broader, like larger community hangout is not as common at Brick Fair.
How about Brick World Chicago? Would you say that there's a lot of broader Lego community hangout?
Yeah, like if you go into the hotel lobby at any point, almost 24 hours a day, there are going to be people hanging out in there that you can just like roll up and talk to and whatever. Which, people will chill and talk with you at Brick Fair in the convention hall. But like, if you're not in the convention hall, there's not like a lobby to hang out in or whatever. So the people who are staying at the hotel will go over to the hotel, but a lot of people are local, or they're staying at an Airbnb or something like that, or they're staying at a different hotel. And so it breaks up a lot faster. The group hangout breaks up a lot faster. Because convention halls are not the most comfortable places to hang out. The chairs are usually not great and stuff. Whereas like the lobby at that Renaissance is super comfy to hang out in and lots of space. And, so, that sets Brick World apart, I think, is it has the best venue that I've been to. And the way that the community interacts there is awesome. Brick Fair has the best games. Brick Slopes just feels like home. Like both because, my family is there and because like it just feels like home. Like there's very much that vibe. Last year when I went, one of the owners' daughters were helping like take tickets at the door. Like, and his whole family was there helping do stuff. His wife, his kids, whatever. Everybody was there. So, it feels each one of them just has a little bit different feel to it. And all of them are good. If I could only go to one ever again, it'd probably be Chicago. But that'd be a tough choice.
How about if you would have, how about if you were to add another one other than Chicago? Like, would you recommend Slopes or Fair more? Like, World the most, he said.
Yeah, so if I could only ever go to one, it'd probably be Brick World.
Yeah, Brick World.
If I had to choose one. But that's the other thing is like I want to go try out Brick Rodeo, and I want to try out like the new one in Atlanta, and like I want to make it to Cascades, and like I would love to visit them all at some point. For me, Brick Fair, Virginia, since it's so close, is an easy like especially the smaller one is like 15 minutes from my house, so it's cool. Wow, super easy. So for that smaller one, that would definitely be an easy.
Is that one an expo wing. Or is it like a full convention?
So it's a full convention. You have 3 private days and then 2 public days. So, or maybe it's only 2 private days. I can't remember. But at any rate, yeah, it's a full convention, just with a lot smaller display. A group of people displaying. So yeah, I love slopes. I love the people that are there, like the Cody and his crew, the Bearded Builders Guild, and ULUG and everybody who helped put it on are just fantastic people. So, if I could only go to one, it'd probably be Chicago. For convenience, the second one would probably be Brick Fair, but
like, if you were taking the convenience out and you're just talking about the vibe and the experience, would you go slopes or fair?
probably slopes. But then I also want to make it out, like I said, to Cascades and Rodeo and everything, because there's the one of the great things about Chicago is because it's more centralized than a lot of the other ones, you get more mixture from across the country and across the world. Brick Fair, you get a lot of different people, a lot of East Coast people, but and like Cascades, you get a lot of West Coast people. But Chicago, you seem to get more a mix.
Yeah.
So, oh, nice, PBJ, your first parts draft. That's awesome.
I participated on it. Like, PBJ ran the set draft, and I joined, and a bunch of other people joined, and it was a ton of fun. It was the only set draft that I did, so I got a bunch of cool pieces.
Yeah, so that's the fun thing with my lug is we probably 3 or 4 times a year do set drafts, and
Cool.
And so it's a lot of fun.
Would you recommend joining a lug? Because I've considered joining the Bay lug.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy. We actually the lug that I'm currently in, we started earlier this year because there's several lugs kind of in the area. There's one up in Baltimore. There's one down in Richmond. There's like a Washington metro area one, and then we're kind of more Northern Virginia centered. And the Washington metro area one is pretty heavily train folk. Like most of the guys that are in there are like train guys. And so that one's not as much my speed, but the one that we have in Northern Virginia, like we've done like 4 or 5 public displays already this year, and have a lot of fun. Oh, nice. Dreams and Hoopty for 50% off. That's nice.
I need to run to the restroom. I'll be right back. Can you handle the chat and mingle with the
Gotcha,
chat?
yeah.
Be right back.
Yeah. Yeah, the 50% off stuff at Target, like my area almost never makes it to 50% off. You guys are lucky because like anything goes like 25 or 30% off in my area and they get bought out. Yeah, Mel is super cool up at Charm City. Unfortunately, that's like 2-hour drive from me. Are you in that one, Will? Yeah, Charm City has some great people. Joseph Zawada, that's their ambassador, is amazing. Mel is awesome. Brick Babe's a nice gal. There's another guy, Skip, in there that does incredible builds. That's super nice. Yeah, Charm City is a great lug. Great lug. I like the people in the Richmond lug as well. They're awesome. And the guys in the Washington metro area lug, decent guys, just not as much my speed as far as what they're building and what they're doing. So our Nova lug is awesome. I'd recommend to almost anybody to join a lug just for, if you like Lego and you like interacting with other Lego fans, why not? We do drafts and our lug isn't recognized at this point. So we don't get any support from Lego of any kind, but we have a lot of fun. We do monthly build challenges and contests, and almost every week or almost every month at the lug meeting, we'll do either a draft or like a speed build challenge, or you have a set and like make something else from the set, and then we vote on who made the best thing out of the parts from that set. We've done build a poly bag in the bag. Yes, doing collab builds is awesome. So Nova Lug, in combination with some of the folks from Wamalug, is going to have a boardwalk set up at Brick Fair that's going to be close to 90 feet long. So yeah, lugs are great for that. Doing collaborations and even just bouncing ideas off of people. Just bouncing ideas off of people when you're doing a mock or something, that you can say, hey, I'm kind of stuck on this part or whatever else like that, and have somebody say, hey, what did you think of using this part, or maybe try this technique, or try this color combination or whatever else. It's awesome. It is so much fun. And Will, you're also welcome if you want to come over and see what we've got at Novalug. We generally meet in the Fairfax County libraries once a month. So we have a few people from Maryland that come out as well. But yeah, come definitely get in with a lug. They're great people in every lug that I've dealt with. They're great people there, and a lot of fun to be had. Oh man. Anybody else here that's in a lug, PBJ, or who else is hanging out? I'm not sure. Zissou, or I think lugs are great. Whether it's officially recognized by Lego or not, just having a group of friends that you can hang out with. Lego is always more fun with other people. So and that's something else that we do. Aside from our monthly lug meetings, we'll meet up on another day during the month and just go out and meet up at one of the local Lego stores or Bricks and Minifigs or whatever, and see what's on the pad wall or what's available in the bulk bins or whatever, and then go out to a restaurant and eat dinner together just to hang out for a couple hours. And lots of fun. And people in lugs, it's been awesome. Somebody will be like, hey, I need this part. Does anybody have some extra laying around that I can buy off of them? And so you can oftentimes, like, if I have something in these bulk bins that somebody needs for a mock or something, like, heck yeah, most of the time, depending on how many pieces they need, I'll just give it to them, because it's like, it's just sitting here in the bin. Like, absolutely take it. So great way to source parts. A while back, I was expanding my Daily Bugle. And so I wanted a second copy of the set in order to have the parts to make it larger. Right. And there was somebody in my lug was like, well, my husband wants the minifigures out of it, but doesn't want the building. And I was like, great, let's split it. So we split I got all the parts, they got all the minifigures, and we split the cost of it and saved us both a bunch of money on it. So worked out really nicely.
That's cool.
So yeah, definitely I would recommend to anybody. And if there's multiple lugs in your area, find one that fits with your vibe, whichever one that you vibe with. Absolutely. If there's not multiple lugs in your area, find the group inside your lug that you vibe with. Cause a lot of times, like, so I guess Germany is one big lug. Like, in all of Germany, they have like 8,000 members or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. And they have like separate chapters in different cities. But it's all part of one big lug. So, doing stuff like that, definitely, find a group of people to hang with. And even if it's not officially a lug, find a group of friends that like to Lego.
For sure. Yeah, I still need to find that for myself. That's why I'm thinking about joining a lug soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you just go and like you decide that like the lug meeting style is not for you, you'll probably meet people there that you can chill with outside of that or whatever. So
what is a lug meeting like?
It totally depends on the lug. Like I've been to some lugs where basically like everybody comes together and like they just kind of build and chat. Like everybody brings a project that they're working on and they kind of build and chat during the meeting. I've been to other lug meetings where it's like there's very formal like business and like very structured. And then I've been to lugs. Our lug is kind of halfway in between. Like we have kind of a short business section at the start of it where we'll go over like what displays are coming up and things like that. And whoever is coordinating whichever display, they'll tell people details that they've gotten. And then we have like question and answer period for either new people or whatever. And then we'll have, after that's over, we'll either play a game or hang out, or a lot of times like during the month we try and have a mock building contest. We'll put out a theme or a challenge for the month, and people will bring their stuff that they built throughout the month to the meeting, and then everybody puts them on display, and like we vote on a winner for the month. And then at the end of the year, there's a prize raffle for, and like each winner gets a ticket in the raffle. Like you get a ticket in the raffle if for any of the challenges that you won. You get a ticket in the raffle for participating in a challenge, things like that. And
what is the raffle for?
For Lego sets.
Cool.
Like,
so do you have to pay a certain amount to be in a lug then?
It depends. Some lugs have dues, some lugs don't. Our lug does. We have, it's $60 a year. So not a lot. And I would imagine that by the end of the year, I will have gotten way more than $60 of value out of the lug as far as what I feel. But we use it for stuff like we just purchased banners to put up at our display tables at Brick Fair. Awesome. So, and we've used them also at a couple other public displays that we've been to recently. We're using some of that to buy the prizes for the raffle and things like that. So we also have used it. So when the Mighty Dinosaur, like the little T-Rex 3-in-1 creator set, we got a bunch of those when they were stupid cheap on Amazon. And we've actually been using those for some of the challenges at the meetings. Like last month in June, the challenge was it was a team relay. So we had the 3-in-1, right? The first person built one, the second person took it apart and built the second one, third person took that apart and built the third one. So it was a relay race to see like speed build 3 stages, right? And then this month we actually used that. We tore all the parts apart at the end of last month and poured them into a bucket. And then this month we poured it out on the table and did a speed build. There was like 17 copies of the set in there. And it was a speed build to see who could build the fastest from just the giant pile of parts, the T-Rex. So you had to hunt through the giant pile of parts to find the parts you needed. So, we use it for stuff like that. We'll probably buy pizza for the lug members who are at Brick Fair. We'll have our monthly meeting at Brick Fair this year, or this month in August, because it falls on the day. So it's a monthly meeting
and not a weekly meeting?
Yeah, we do a monthly meeting. So yeah, I mean it's all kinds of stuff that tons of fun, and then so ours is typically like the first Saturday of the month we do our regular meeting, and then the third Saturday we do like the dinner that I was talking about, where we'll meet up at a Lego store or Bricks and Minifigs or whatever, and people pack pab boxes or go through the bulk bins, and then afterward we go eat dinner.
That's fun.
Yeah, just great hanging out, and the guys and gals that are in my lug are just good people that I genuinely enjoy spending time with. So, you know, great stuff. Yeah, Hoarder, if that's something you're interested in, I don't know what Charm's contact information is, but Nova Lug Official on Instagram is the handle for Nova Lug. Or if you look up Nova dash, like with the hyphen, lug.org, I think it is, or .com. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. Let me check so I don't send you to the wrong place. Nova-lug.com. Nova-lug.com is our website for Nova Lug. We'd, love to meet you. Love to have you come out. And one of the great things is, you can attend multiple lugs if you want to. Like, I'm kind of an honorary member of Den Lug. I grew up in Colorado and know a bunch of the people that are in Den Lug, and so I ended up spending a lot of my time at Brick World Chicago hanging out with the Den Lug folks.
Because you guys, you shared a booth with them, right?
Yeah, we ended up sharing a booth with them. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, so and those guys are awesome, and so the only restrictions with lugs really are if you participate in multiple recognized lugs, you're only allowed to get the lug benefits from one, if that makes sense. So
by recognized lugs, you mean like land, part of land, though, right?
Correct. But you can show up every day to a different lug meeting if you wanted to, and sit in and chat with people, and there's no problem with that. You just can't do the lug bulk and other things for more than one.
Why can you only do it for one?
Just as a control measure, so people aren't doing, because lug bulk has limits on how much you can purchase, how much an individual can purchase. And so that somebody can't game the system and go to 5 different lugs and order 5 different lug bulks from 5 different lugs.
Wow.
So you can only do it from one lug.
And then Will says, so you can't get lug bulk from both of them. Okay, got you. Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
So, but yeah, I would highly recommend to anybody joining a lug, and for the most part, like your experience at Brick World, that 99% of the people that you interacted with were cool.
Yeah.
Same with the lugs. Like, every once in a while, you're going to run across somebody that either you don't vibe with, or just like, not my style, or rubs you the wrong way or whatever. And so you just don't hang out with that person. You hang out with the other people. So, or if there's a lug that doesn't have the style, that's the great thing, is like, things like Rebel Lug or Empire Lug that are only online and they only get together really at conventions in person. Those exist. But so you can, whatever fits kind of your style, there's somebody out there for you. There's a group out there for you.
That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, it sounds really cool. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Definitely something that when I get back to the US, I'll have to look into.
For sure. Yeah. Good luck with that. Like, and if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see if I can. I'm sure I know somebody who knows somebody in Baylug.
Really cool, yeah. Yeah, probably, yeah. I first found out about lugs, I think, because I went to this really cool show. It was in Palo Alto, and the Palo Alto Museum, And the museum is free, but the Lego exhibition was not. It was like a couple of bucks, and they had some really cool mocks. And then
Nice.
they were also selling some minifigures and I think some pieces like right outside, which was
Okay.
really cool. So I picked up some cool stuff there. I believe that I got like a $20 Ninjago Mr. Pale minifigure for $3, so that was pretty cool. And the three
That
main
is cool,
characters, SpongeBob, which is also cool always. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you didn't know, Ninjago's my favorite theme, which you could probably tell by the shirt. I went to the concert in Brickworld, Chicago. That was a ton of fun. Did you go to the concert?
I didn't end up at the concert. I heard it was a lot of fun, but yeah.
And ACOB performed their Box of Boys song, which is a ton of fun there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but getting back to what I was saying, so I found out about them through there, and I don't know why I didn't join then, but I don't know. I felt like I needed to think about it. But now after hearing this, I think that I'll probably join.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the great thing. Like, even with lugs that have dues like mine, anybody's welcome to just come. But like, if you're going to be in the prize raffle at the end of the year, you have to be a dues paying member, things like that. But you can come and play the games and things like that anyway, whether you're a member or not. So yeah, definitely check out your local lug and find out, what they're up to. And then you can do cool stuff that, like, in the community as well. Most lugs do different shows in the community outside of just the conventions that are a lot of fun, that you go show off what you're building more than just the couple times a year that you get to go to a convention. Oh wow, has it been 3.5 hours? Wow.
No, it's been 3 hours and 20 minutes. But yeah, well, it's been a ton of fun.
Well, awesome, Will. Thanks for coming by.
I get up at 4:45, which is only 5 hours and 15 minutes. From now, so I have to head out. Great stream, guys. He kept it going for 3.5 hours, and then he says, "Hit that like button." Yes, please do, and subscribe to both Oaktown Bricks here and also Walter Limited. So, yeah, that's a lot of cool stuff. I was wondering, how do you feel about the helmet line ending for Lego Star Wars?
I have a couple of them. You can see behind me Boosh and the Scout Trooper. It's all right. Like, I like that Lego's trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in case I didn't say it, bye Hoarder 66. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for coming out. Look forward to talking to you more. I like the changes in stuff. Like, I think there's more helmets that they could do, but I think if they did it for too much longer, it'd start to get stale. So it's definitely something that I could see them bringing back a couple of years down the line, and maybe redoing a couple and doing some new ones. But I think it's good to switch it up. And like the MIDI scale, I think, if they do a few waves of the MIDI scale stuff and then take a break for a little bit, and bring it back, then, I think that's good. I think there's definitely room to cycle things through. I think that's one of the hard things with like Harry Potter is there's so much smaller of a world built that it is just the same thing over and over and over and over. Whereas, yes, there are repeats in Star Wars for sure, but there's a lot less repeats less often. And there's so many locations and characters and ships and stuff that you can do. And I guess Harry Potter could do MIDI scale stuff. They've done some micro scale Hogwarts and things, but
I mean, they don't really have ships to do MIDI scale.
Right, exactly. So, there's less stuff to
Hogwarts Express MIDI scale though, anyone?
Right, like, here you go.
Yeah.
they've done it in basically every other size. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think taking a break from the helmets is decent. The midi scale sets personally don't appeal to me as much.
Really? How come?
I like minifig like play scale sets more.
Me
I'm not
too.
as
Me
much of
too.
a like fully display guy.
Yeah, I'm the same
Um,
way too.
and especially like all of my sets pretty much my kids play with, like the stuff that's built or
Really?
whatever. They'll come mess around with it.
Wow.
We have a little city set up in the other room that
That's cool.
like I had to at one point I had to modify one of the modular buildings because like it has a basement, but you couldn't get to the basement other than like the little door in the back. And so my dude ended up like he kept putting figures in it and he couldn't get them back out. And so at one point I had to actually pull the modular apart, and I built it like I put in a row of tile and so it can come apart easier now.
That's cool. Yeah.
Because he loved at that point to stick stuff in. He doesn't as much at this point. He's more building mechs and things at this point. But and my city's kind of a mess. We finished the basement and everything got all jacked up. But yeah, so he would stick stuff in there, and so I had to like pull it out, like pull it apart to get all the figs back out. There were like 25 figs stuck in there at one point because he just kept jamming them
Wow.
in. So you know, yeah, they play with everything pretty much. You know, there are a few things that are not really play sets, and so like they don't really play with it. Like the helmets don't get played with, of course, because
how about like that UCS Millennium Falcon?
So that one doesn't much get played with because it's so heavy. And so like to get like I'll get stuff down and like either put it on the end of my desk or put it on the floor or whatever, and they'll play with it. But that one's so big that it's hard to move, and like they don't really want to come like stand on a chair and like play in the corner with it. So that one is another one of the exceptions. But like the TIE fighter or whatever, I'll pull them down and they can swoosh them around and whatever. Almost every set, it's funny because my 5-year-old will come up. He likes to build stuff, but he doesn't have the patience yet to build bigger sets. And so like I'll be building like an Ninjago set or a Dream set or something, and he'll be like, "Hey Dad, when you're done with that, can I test it out?" And he wants to like take it and like play with it. Like, all right, dude, test it out, go play with it, see if it's good, and let me know. So or you know, a lot he used to like he'd sit on my lap while I was building and just like play with the minifigures in what I was building. He's a little bigger now, so he doesn't do that as much, but yeah.
So how about like Rivendell? Do they play with that, for example, or the Dungeons and Dragons set?
So he has definitely played with the Dungeons and Dragons dragon and the minifigures. The set doesn't as much appeal to him, and like Rivendell, he doesn't like it doesn't speak to him, I guess, or whatever, because it's a lot more like trees and stuff. There's not a lot of like action. So he like when I was building it on the desk, he was checking out all the figs and taking them on adventures and stuff, but he hasn't played with it as much now that it's complete because he's like they're just sitting there in a circle.
So are your kids' favorite toys Lego then?
It's definitely up there. The younger three play with Lego almost every day.
Wow.
But their favorite thing probably right now is we have a trampoline in the backyard.
Oh, okay.
And they love to go jump on the tramp. So, but yeah, Lego is definitely one of the things that they play with most.
That's cool. Yeah, no, but I was asking like other toys that they play with a lot or have a lot.
I'm trying to think of what else they play with a lot. They definitely like to draw and paint and things. And And my little dude has some like dinosaurs and like a few action figures and things that he likes to play with as well. My daughters have some like baby dolls and things like that, or stuffed animals. They all have stuffed animals that they like to do. They'll build. We have some of the like, the foam mats that like hook together that you can put out on the floor. We have some of those, and they'll take those and they'll build like a dog house for their stuffed animals and play in that. And then inevitably they also like will build something out of Lego and bring it in, and like it all just mixes. That's the great thing with kids, is like there's no dividing line for them between like, oh, Lego can only be played with Lego, right? So they'll do whatever. Like the Lego and the stuffed animals and the blanket and whatever else can all go together.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, that's kids' imaginations.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing.
For sure. Yeah, and it's a ton of fun. Keeps me young.
So for you, like, I imagine you don't really play with your Lego like that, right?
With my kids, I do, but yeah, like if it's just me, I mostly am building stuff. Although, like my Forestman mock, I've done some playing on it, just because like I'll build stuff and like I'm like, oh yeah, now the guy comes running along here and like. But yeah, a lot more like I'll play more with the kids and more build by myself.
Yeah, that's me too. Yeah, I'm more building for sure. I mean, I like to look at stuff and buy stuff that looks fun, like because I think that's kind of reminds me of being a kid, and that's why I think I like play scale stuff more.
Yeah,
but yeah,
for sure.
And a lot of it looks good on a shelf still, since Lego designers are, for the most part, incredibly talented.
Yes, absolutely. Huge respect to those guys, because they get it to look good and super stable, and stay within the budget that they're given from their corporate masters and everything else. So like huge respect to those guys. They do incredible work.
For sure. Yeah. A lot of cool stuff there. So, you said white whales. I don't think that you ever answered my question. Like, is there a white whale that you have still?
So the Imperial flagship is definitely one. The Rancor pit is on the list, but I like that one. I'm gonna have to find in a bulk find, because like there's not that much to the set, but it costs a ton at this point. So
you might be able to piece it together.
Actually. Other than the Rancor.
The Rancor, yeah.
So hopefully I can find a Rancor for a decent price at some point.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bunch of the old castle sets that I would love to get. But I have a ton. That I'm super lucky in that I've been able to get a bunch of the sets that I really wanted. Like the Mill Village Raid with the goats in it was actually on the shelf in the Lego store when I visited the Lego store with my kids for the first time. But when I came back the next time, it was gone. Like it had discontinued. And so that one was my white whale for quite a while, for several years, from like 2014-ish, 13-ish, whenever it discontinued, until I got it in like 2018, I want to say, maybe 2019. And so I've been lucky enough to get some of the sets that I really wanted. A lot of it, like, I really enjoy the hunt, like in the bulk lots, like getting a bulk lot and seeing what's in it. And then, sometimes there's nothing, no great set in it, but you'll find cool pieces. But yeah, as far as white whales out there, that I don't know if I'll ever be able to buy the Imperial flagship because it's so crazy
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah,
Oh, another one would be I would love to get the Ghostbusters Firehouse. That's another one.
really.
So that one, yeah, those three are probably the three kind of big, like white whale sets.
I will say this. I know Brickhive was considering selling his Rancor, so you might be able to work out a deal with him.
Right, I'll have to hit Hive up.
Yeah, yeah, and he lives somewhat close to you, right?
Yeah, he's about 2 hours.
He's in
He's
Baltimore.
up in the Baltimore area. Yeah, about 2.5 hours away, maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys could probably meet up somewhere or something.
Yeah. No, I'd love to get together with Hive at some point. I'm hoping to see him at Brick Fair.
Yeah, hopefully. So. Yeah, it looks like his foot is doing better because I think that he went back to work.
Yeah.
Finally, so, yeah.
Yeah, I was glad to see that he's back moving around again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he wasn't able to go to Brick World Chicago, which sucked.
Yeah, I was bummed for him.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to meeting him, and I'm like, oh, man. And then I also found out Amberlia Builds wasn't able to go. So that was unfortunate. And then TJ, last minute, Titanium J52, wasn't able to go last minute, and that sucked. So, yeah. And I know Richie also had some issues, but I think that he was able to go a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the great thing is, there's so many people at different conventions that like you're always going to be able to find somebody to hang out with. Mm-hmm. But it is a bummer when they can't make it. So hopefully, I'll be able to meet up with Hive at Brick Fair. I don't know if I don't think Amberlia is planning on coming down for that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't think so. And then TJ, I doubt it as well.
Yeah, I've seen him at Brick Fair at some point in the past, but I think mostly he goes to Chicago because it's close to him.
Yeah.
I think he came out one time when I was there, at least.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah. Have you considered getting Barred Door?
Yes, strongly.
Are you gonna get it?
Probably. Yeah. I read The Lord of the Rings the first time when I was like 10, maybe younger than that even. Mm-hmm. So I've been a Lord of the Rings fan since late 80s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. And like to have them in Lego, like I'm really sad that I missed them, the first run of sets. And so those are other ones that like I'm kind of slowly picking up here and there. Ooh. Thankfully, there's not a lot of huge sets. So even though they're expensive individually, it's not like crazy. The $10 sets are $30 instead of 100 set being $300.
Yeah.
But so yeah, hopefully I'll be able to pick up some of those. Not all, because there's some that I'm just like meh. But I would love to get, especially a bunch of the old minifigures. There's really good figures, so I'd love to pick those all up at some point.
Mm-hmm. Are you more of a build or a minifigure fan, or both?
I love minifigures, but like just minifigures for minifigures' sake don't really do anything for me. So I definitely like to have an environment for the minifigures to be in. So probably build one, minifigs two.
But like, could you do a build without minifigures?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't find them as interesting. Like minifig scale stuff is more interesting to me, just because you can do more storytelling with it. But people do the like the at Legoland they have like the mini land stuff where they brick build bigger figures, and so that's you can do a lot. You need to have something to be able to story tell with. So So whether it's easier to do with a minifig when you don't have to brick build the characters, but you know, you could definitely, and I've built a bunch of like mosaics and things that were cool that didn't have minifigures in them.
That's true.
So definitely doable.
And then how did you come up with your name, Walter Limited?
So Walter is my last name, and then LTD Limited, like LLC or whatever. I was just like, because everybody does bricks, and so I was like, I don't want to do Walter Bricks, or you know, and I wasn't very creative with the naming when I was trying to think of a name, and so I was just like, Walter Limited sounds good. So I just kind of, and the LTD is great because it could be a bunch of different things. Like some of my older daughters, my two teenage daughters, their friends will be like, oh yeah, your dad's the Lego toy dude. And so, you know, that fits with LTD, things like that. So it's kind of useful to be able to, you know, take the LTD, the limited, and do different funny things with it.
Yeah, that's cool. And how did you come up with your channel logo then?
That was totally just like, I was trying to think of what to do for a simple logo that I could make, and I just started messing around with Lego, and I was like, oh, you know, that's easy. It's cheap to do. I can replicate it. I can make it myself, and it makes a decent digital logo as well. So I actually once I'd messed with it physically, I jumped in Studio and made it, and then rendered it. And like, I mean, it was like 5 minutes to to make it in Studio, and was able to then just render it to use for my socials. So it may go through a rebrand at some point, but you know, I was just trying to figure out something to do that was easy, and my graphic design skills are not awesome. So I was like, I can do things in Lego.
What inspired you to create your channel?
I've thought about making a YouTube channel for a few years. You know, I discovered kind of the Lego online community. Probably Beyond the Brick was probably the first thing that I found in like 2017, 18, somewhere in there. And I was like, oh, that's neat. You know, these guys get to do this for their full-time job. That's pretty nifty. But then during the pandemic, when a whole bunch of other people started, you know, I consumed a lot more Lego content. And then after a while, I was just like, you know, there's a lot of voices, a lot of younger voices in the Lego community on socials. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of older voices, like or bigger voices. Like there's a few, like Bricksar and Brickatect and a few others.
Jang Bricks.
Jang. But like the perspective of a parent who's an AFOL is not super out there, right? There's, like I say, there's a few, but there's not a ton of them. And so a lot of the like social media content is from the perspective of like a teenage or 20s single person, or like Emmasaurus and Ross that don't have kids. And so like there's a lot different perspective on the collecting and things than people who have kids and stuff. And so I was like, I think I have something to add. And, you know, I feel like I try and take a little bit different approach with my content than other people, and look at things from like a logical perspective, and like, okay, there's this question. What's the real answer to it? Like with the Dreams versus Star Wars minifigs, or like the Pick-a-Brick boxes, cups to boxes, because everybody was like, oh, it's good, it's bad, it's whatever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was like, I'll test it out and make a video about it. Like, why not? And so I try and like take very factual approaches to things. And you know, of course, when people are judging sets or whatever, it's it's very subjective. But a lot of times people will just be like, well, I like this and I don't like this. And there's not as much like, okay, what's the thought process behind it? And so, you know, I'm a very cerebral guy from time to time. I really think about things a lot. And so I was like, you know, maybe I have something to add there to like with when I did the one of my very first videos was the gift with purchase ranks for 2023. And I really tried to explain through how my thought process on the gifts with purchase. And so, you know, I think there's value in having some of that out there. So those are kind of the things that that finally pushed me over the edge. In truth, I was actually on watching Bricking Up Brad, a stream about the Magisto's Magical Workshop GWP, and like people were just crapping on it in his stream as he was building it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't so much defending it, like saying it was great, as I was just like, it's not as bad as you guys are saying it is. It's like, do I think it could have been done better? Absolutely. Do I think it's the absolute worst thing ever? No.
No, I agree.
And so, you know, that was actually the final thing that made me decide to make a video. Was like, I was hearing all these people say things, and I didn't feel like a lot of their opinions were backed up by good information. And so I was like, okay, I want to put my thought out there into the community. And, you know, granted, not a lot of people are watching my videos at this point, but, you know, I think I have something valuable to add. So that was kind of what, you know, pushed me over the edge, was like, you know, here's a different perspective. Here's a different way to look at things.
Would you say that you're happy with how your channel is going?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, you know, I haven't put out anything in June. I got to get back on the horse in July, but I've been working to crush out this Forestman mock, and so that's been taking a lot of my time. So I need to get some more stuff back out, or get some more videos in the hopper. But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I was stunned with how well my Iron Man video did. That's the one that's like really has taken off out of everything.
How well did it do?
It's got like 15,000 views or something like that.
Wow.
So not crazy viral. I'm not like any kind of a big deal, but like most of my videos are getting like 200 or 300 views, something like that. And that one did 15,000. So I was like, wow, like cool. That was neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think when I put in the time, the one that I was disappointed in was my Memorial Day one. I think is probably one of my best videos ever, and it's gotten like 30 views. That was the last one I put out at the end of May. Like I say, I think that's one of my best videos, but has not gotten a ton of views. So
interesting.
So, you know, and it depends on what people are looking for, and apparently that one did not hit. It wouldn't surprise me at some point if that one took off some, but you know, my whole thing, like I don't have a YouTube channel as like my income. Like I'm not monetized or anything at all. And like my purpose in doing it is not for money. So if money ever does come in from it, great. But like I'm trying to make content that I enjoy making and that I would enjoy watching. And if other people like it, great. If not, so my satisfaction quotient with it is mostly tied to me rather than other people's reaction to it.
Hmm. That's cool. Are there any content creators that inspire you or anything? Or that you enjoy watching?
Definitely. Yeah, so probably the ones that I watch the most are like I love if I want to actually see a review of a set, like I don't watch a ton of reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to see a review of a set to find out, like if I'm on the fence about it or whatever, I love to watch Jang's reviews because he's very thorough.
Yeah.
And absolutely, and he does a really good job of like, here's what I think about it and here's why.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
And so that's I really enjoy his stuff for that. Brixie is a lot of fun to watch just because like his excitement about the hobby is contagious. I do enjoy some of M&R stuff. Like probably his Q&A stuff, his Ask M&R stuff is probably some of my favorite because I think it's some of his most candid content. And I think that's some of his best content.
What do you mean by candid?
Like, it's not super, like, he does a really good job of writing the scripts for his other videos, but like he has a message, if you know what I mean. That like, and a script that he's following through his videos, and they're great, they're very well done. But like when he does the Ask M&R, you get a lot more of like it's not rehearsed, it's more off the cuff and kind of like straight off the top of his head and not as polished. And I think some of that is some of his better content, like because I want to hear, instead of his prepared thoughts, I want to hear what he's actually thinking. You know what I mean? Probably my most favorite thing to watch or listen to is Sitting on a Stoop. I think Shy is killing it with that podcast.
Oh yeah.
I loved Cali Brick Click. Saw basically every episode of that. I found it about halfway through its run.
I found it very late.
And I watched every episode from then on. I haven't gone back and watched everything, but I've watched a few. And Sauce is just, I mean, premium content. I love how well he does as an interviewer. The conversations are great. It's very genuine. It's very, it's not super, controlled, focused, but it's a great conversation every time. And, and Shy's just a great dude. So.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the people that I didn't get to hang out with enough.
Yeah. So Shy is definitely there on the list of like, I will watch anything that Shy puts out pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. Gotta work in the morning. So I appreciate it. Hey, this has been a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again sometime.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe in a couple of months or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Hey, it was great to meet you at Brick World as well.
Yes, it was great to meet you too. And we got to talk. You were definitely the person that I talked to the most, probably.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then PBJ says, thanks for the stream. Yeah, of course, PBJ.
Absolutely, PBJ. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching so much. But yeah, goodbye, everyone. We'll see you later.
All right. Sounds good.
Flippity flop or whatever. Yeah. Where do we end it? Bye, everyone.
Bye.
DJ Phil says bye.